Don't forget this time, you son of a bitch. Last time you left me hanging.
That was awesome.
No, it was funny. I was like, of course. Oh, they can hear me. Tune in to hear me talk. You never know. I should have had him. Yes, fuck yeah. That new album that's in my top 5.
Yeah, shit's actually pretty baller, to be fair.
That album is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's up there. Frozen Souls up there. That album's sick.
I need to listen.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Pop the balloon! Pop the balloon!
Pop it.
This
Pop
is,
it!
we just use this as a chance to just set the fucking tone for people.
One
Bye.
night on a spooky highway, there once was a man named Randy. I can't ever tell if oh, you're good. I can see you.
That was weird.
I have a little blip.
Yeah.
I have to try to be. I can't tell too far away. I think I'm in the same spot that I always am, but I have like a setup here that I do. I gotta get a fucking tablet or something. Because this thing, doing it with my phone isn't conducive to this. Hopefully people can hear me burp.
Tablet's worth it.
Yeah, I gotta get one just to fucking have it. Even if it's just for shit like this, you know, like.
Yep. So I'm using right now. I write on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on doing stuff like this. My phone, it works great, but it does that weird thing. It must just have a weird connection. Tablet, I don't think would do that. I think it'd be able to process what we're doing best. My laptop. I gotta take my laptop in to work. I always have like racing. Beware the fog. Well, hello. Welcome back to Bonded by Horror. Nice. I wasn't expecting that. Good. You guys know the deal by now. Oh shit. Yeah. What the fuck is my map? I should have figured this one out. The closest thing I have. All right. Well, I'm Eddie Vegas, and then these guys will tell you who they are in a second.
All right, I'm done. I am Joe Walsh in the real world, and in the fictional world, I'm JC Walsh.
Hi, can people hear me?
Yeah, you are definitely muffled.
Ah, all right. So we'll only keep this on for a second. So look, so we got a mask on somewhere.
Hang on,
This is great. This is awesome for the audio listeners. Yeah, this is a great episode so far.
I mean, so the people can hear me still because my mask fucking rules.
It's usually a wreck anyway, so you could call me Master Scrooge this time, boys. I'm your master.
That's dirty.
You can't even see my eyes in this thing at all.
No, I don't think you can see your eyes.
Nope.
I don't think you can see your eyes either. Yeah.
Nope. Nope. But
I should have thought of this beforehand.
I was told that we have a balloon party. All right.
Yeah. So we very well might be. Hey Ben,
Hey,
sit in the balloon. Pop it. Pop the balloon.
I can if you want. I can. All right. Fuck
Just
this.
don't put any scandalous clothes on, please.
You can leave that mask on the top of your head like that because at one point,
Yeah,
in the
he
movie,
does
that's
do that.
Kind of what he does. So.
Oh.
So
God.
I pop it.
Spoiler alert.
Pop the fucking balloon.
Pop it.
Pop it.
Thank Cthulhu, this is not a true story. Because I was like, ugh.
Dude. Yeah, it's some wild shit.
And that doesn't even tell what I just said doesn't even tell anything.
I sat on it and it made it look like an eggplant.
Yeah, because it was trying to fit somewhere.
I'm ruining it. All right.
So, Bonded by Horror, everybody. This is episode 5. This is the one we've been technically waiting for because from here on out, we're gonna start doing some more stuff as far as like getting it out there. So, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to last with this Ultimate Warrior mask on my face, but we're gonna do the best we can. I might as well keep
It's
it on
creepy.
for a while. It's fucking awesome.
It's
It does
pretty-
actually in this. Right, it does look pretty good, suiting for what we're doing, and I can talk well, so that's all that matters. I mean, that's all we really need, right? Is me to talk.
Oh, true.
That's what we do. All right. So, as far as what we're doing tonight, if you didn't catch on by the posts, or if you haven't been following us on Instagram, which, by the way, since last week, every week we've gotten more and more, but ever since last week, we've gotten the biggest influx so far that we've gotten, from today. Like every week, it's growing bigger and bigger,
True.
and we're up over, which doesn't seem like much, but we're, up over 125. I think we're at 120 followers net as of tonight. We're right there, maybe like 115, but still pretty close.
Yeah, so come on, people, follow the Instagram, rate, review on Spotify, because this is gonna seem so dated when it's on Spotify. People are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" So if you're already listening, it doesn't matter. But if people are watching live, it's gonna be on Spotify. I'm gonna try to post it up tomorrow, just for the first episode, just because we can finally have one out, and on YouTube. And then subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Spotify. Make sure to listen.
Gonna have the YouTube's gonna be video, right? Like the full, just like
Yeah. So they get to see all this. Trust me, this is not the most wasted $7 of my life today. I promise. It'll last on forever.
I mean, I've had this mask for a long time. I didn't even think to wear it. I should have when you guys said you both had something fun to do.
I only pointed out the balloon. I kept this a secret.
True, but it makes sense. So, if I think we already did intro, so everybody knows who we are by now. And what we're going to be doing tonight, if you weren't following along, Ben had suggested a movie called August Underground, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's still on the still. We'll have that be for a special occasion then.
Yeah, we couldn't find that one because it's taboo, hard to find. So Ben wanted to do something, and a good suggestion is doing something that none of us have seen yet. Joe looking all fucking creepy straight into the thing is actually pretty fucking terrifying. Thank you, Joe. I'm staring at that. You can't see my eyes, so that's pretty good, actually. I'm pretty impressed. The fucking corn maze days are coming back and helping you out. Your acting skills, I like it.
Oh, yeah, the old days.
So I gotta get this thing on my face. Give me 2 seconds. All right. So you can probably still hear me because I'm sure you can. Let me actually put this over here. I think all sunburnt and washed, just like I am. I should probably put my fucking glasses back on too. They're not for reading, but fucking, I'll see how long I can go. You guys see how baggy my eyes are. All right, so we're doing the Poughkeepsie tapes. Heard of this movie or never seen this movie? What a fucking ride! I had heard about this movie through, when you watch those top 10 YouTube videos that'll be like
those fucking
like,
Mojo or
yeah,
is that what it is?
Watch Mojo.
Top Mojo. Watch Mojo.
Yeah, Watch Mojo. Like things like that. Some people do top 10 scariest movies ever. Some people do top 10 found footage movies or whatever the hell it is. And I don't know which one it was, but I found this movie out through that. So I had an idea on what it was, and I had an idea I've almost gone to watch it a few times. And I'm not the biggest fan of found footage movies, no matter what the deal is, no matter how much people rave about them. I think I count 3 total that I actually really enjoy. And it's, it depends on what you consider a found footage movie.
Blair Witch.
I don't mind. No, I've honestly never.
What's
even
the
me neither.
What's that one with the fucking? What's the one with the big ass monster? And
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Yeah, the one with the John Goodman sequel. That's a found footage movie.
Really,
that's one of the best ones.
I know. Yeah, and I mean,
technically, Host is found footage.
Host
it is. It's just an up.
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of like this.
Updated.
Yeah, they updated the format, but Host is
modernized.
No, what the Something Creek, the Bigfoot movie that Bobcat Goldthwait made. Something Creek, Willow Creek.
I think I know what you're talking about. I never seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
That movie's fucking incredible. It's incredible. It's like an hour long. It's super quick. It's a really fast burn. Somebody try to find that for me. I think it's Willow Creek. I'm almost positive. If we have a follower in the chat that can let me know, I'm pretty sure that movie's amazing. It's a horror movie about Bigfoot.
Yeah. It's Willow Creek.
Willow Creek. Yep. Yeah, phenomenal. And Bobcat Goldthwait, the comedian from the '80s who was in Police Academy. He does like that. That guy. He writes and directs movies now. That and God Bless America is another amazing movie that he did. That really
the scumbag guy from Married with Children too.
Yeah, he was. I think the cousin or something.
Yeah.
So Willow Creek is really good. So I don't mind the first Paranormal Activity. Like I always thought I was gonna hate it,
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
but for
that
being
too.
a super low budget, it's actually really well
The
done.
first one's
Like
good.
the first one's good. Even the second one's not bad. Then after
I
that, the
enjoyed
third
up to
one
the
sucked.
fourth one. I stopped.
I couldn't even go that far. But the third was okay. But the
Yeah.
first one was very good. Like it was deceivingly good. Or deceptively good, rather I should say.
Mhm.
You just don't expect like people who aren't into horror movies. That's like on my other show. Speaking of metal, my other show that we talk about, the Three Dudes and Cold Brews podcast, we talk about Five Finger Death Punch all the time. Like I can't get into that band. That's metal for people who don't like heavy metal. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're a gateway band. So do your thing. I'm not gonna knock them, or I just personally cannot get into that band. That's the band that like when I'm at the gym and I'm listening to like underground hardcore or like death metal or Cannibal Corpse or whatever the hell I'm listening to, people will come over to me. Yeah, older dudes that were into metal in the 80s will come over and be like, "Oh, what do you listen to? You into like some like modern metal, like Metallica?" I'm like, obviously yes, I like Metallica. "Oh, you like Pantera?" "Yeah, I like Pantera." "Oh, you must love Five Finger Death Punch and Godsmack." "No, I can't say I
Yeah,
do."
duh.
But you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, I'm not even knocking that. So if you're into those bands, that's awesome. I can't get into it. So to me, Paranormal Activity was kind of like the Five Finger Death Punch of horror movies. Like they're not really scary. You know what I mean? They're not like this. They're not like what we watched and what we're about to review. It's more of like, you know, it's like a date night movie. You know what I mean? They're all PG-13. They're not hard. They're not gory. You know what I mean? Like, but they're still good. So
It still
you don't
freaks
want
me
to.
out. But I'm weird with the paranormal stuff.
No, but I agree. So that's the thing. So which we can do an entire show about that. My point with the
Oh, yeah.
Paranormal Activity simply is I didn't give it a chance when it came out because I
Mhm.
wanted to deny it being good. Like in my head, I was like, yeah, the same people who think fucking Twilight is a horror movie or about vampires, like that movie. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not. It's not the same thing. I mean, Paranormal Activity. It's good for what it is. It really is. It's got its place. Ghost stuff like that, everybody's got their opinion on that kind of thing, and it does get your brain working. It gets your inner, like almost like your inner child, that like the one that would wake up in the middle of the night and see two beady eyes. Oh, it's actually just your alarm clock. But
Vulnerability. That's why I always think
yeah,
about that stuff.
exactly. It does. It taps into your vulnerability. Whoa, good lord, tongue's not working quite right
But
yet.
that was me last
Speaking of
week.
which, tonight I'm actually sipping on beer. I'm taking the role of Joe tonight because he's taking it easy tonight. So I took over the beer guy spot. Normally I'm like vodka or whatever else I drink. Tonight I'm drinking. I'm starting off with some Heavy Seas, Hydra's Hazy IPA. If you can see that, it's
That
kind of
looks
dope.
that looks good.
That's a cool
It's
can.
very tasty. Yeah, so that's what it jumped out at me. It's a 6-pack. It's worth it. I've never had a bad Heavy Seas beer ever.
It's got
So
my own coffee. And if you follow me on
nothing wrong
Instagram,
with
this cup's on there all the time.
the
Yeah.
Raven Lunatic.
Shout out
Then I
to
also have
uh
this is Galaxy or Wandering into the Fog is what this one's called. And they're pretty good. I've had two of these. These are 8.6. I'm going to save these for when we actually start talking about the show in minutes. 'Cause
shout out to Pepsi with this Mountain Dew.
Is that a Ninja Turtle?
I've
Mine?
been looking. No,
Those colors look like Ninja Turtle. I was like, oh.
No, it's the
melon one.
It's the
right?
melon one, but it's zero sugar. The regular one is terrible. But
So
Zero
we got
Sugar was
some
actually pretty good.
interesting things we're drinking tonight.
yes,
Yeah, I'm on vacation, so you're welcome, guys. And to me,
I just
5
forgot
is
to get
a
booze.
pinnacle
So.
show. You're good. Just I'll be the guy. I'm gonna be fired up in a little while. So here's the deal. So we've just been rolling here. Hopefully everybody's still with us. Now that we have all the fun stuff out of the way, we should really jump into this movie. So this one, none of us have seen. This is the first time any of us have actually even watched this, seen it. I don't know if anybody else even knew anything else about it. So this is the first time on Bonded by Horror we're actually doing a fresh take for all three of us. So
Yeah.
I've been really looking forward to that. This is a great one to do that with because I don't know what any of we have not talked about our thoughts. This is going to be 100% pure what we think about this movie to you guys. So this isn't like a love letter to a movie that we already love, like which we've done 4 of, which go back and check those out if you haven't. Again, we'll do some more plugs at the end of the show. We have some more big things coming up too, but after this one, you guys are going to be able to start going back and checking them out on YouTube and everything else. So keep that in mind, right? And don't be afraid to jump in with us if you've ever heard of this movie or if you have any questions or anything, whoever's listening. And I know the numbers. So I don't know where you guys want to start. Normally we kind of do like scene by scene kind of breakdown, which I did do that like I typically
Mhm.
do. But man, what a fucking movie. Like
I feel like this is one of those movies where it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really hard to talk about scene by scene because what the fuck are you gonna talk about the FBI people? I mean, there's stuff like there's like little things that they say that's really nice, that they point out, and it feels like they're kind of like complimenting, whatever you want to call them. Sadly, we the only name we have for him is Ed, which is funny.
yeah, I was gonna fucking
It's
point that out.
Edward Carver is the killer's name in this.
Okay.
I
I
got
was
you.
just gonna call him Ed the Master, which
We do that
but
too.
that's like looking into a mirror though, so you know, I'm only kidding.
No, he's not.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not that good. Am I? You don't know what's in my basement, Joe.
Oh,
I
true.
don't.
Oh,
you never
true.
know, right? Who knows?
It's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
Could just be my dog's poop. Who knows? Could be a
Shit.
dead body. Could be both. Who knows? Maybe it's my dog's poop on a dead body.
They're both fertilizer.
Really knows. They're both either one. They both become worm food, right? So who gives a shit? All right. Interesting open though. With we'll just get right into it. So it definitely
Yeah, it was
has
opening.
an interesting
I got some
with.
stuff in the opening.
It starts right in with a funeral, and it kind of goes back and forth between like a funeral and like some home footage of a younger girl like around her house. So you already kind of have an idea. I'm like, well, this, more than likely this funeral's for said girl in the movie. And I feel like they do bring up Cheryl's name a couple times early on, but I can't really remember the first time I heard it. So if one of you guys has that written down, you're more than welcome to fill me in there. I will also say, never been the biggest fan of found footage movies, but a few have surprised me. So that's why I knew this was found footage, but I didn't realize that it was like almost like documentary style footage mixed in with some found footage. So I actually really enjoyed that, because if it's entirely found footage, that loses me sometimes, and I have a harder time taking it serious.
VHS is the other really good one, by the way.
Those are
VHS
really good.
is a really good anthology. So that's found footage, but it's also an anthology.
Right.
So.
That was the other one I kept trying to think of, is the one I really like.
One.
Yeah,
the second one's okay. It's not as good as the first one's.
Which
incredible.
Is the first one or the second one the one with the vampire segment? It's really fucking good. I think the second one.
Segment.
It's
the second one.
And then there's also the one where they're in Japan, and like it's like the fucking
the one in Japan's part 2. That's it.
Yeah, part 2 is really good. No, so like
that's the one with the zombie, like the guy
yes,
on the bike.
Yeah, so
the first one I like a lot. It's got the fucking girl, the demon girl.
Siren.
Do you like me? That's I don't care when that right. It's still it still gives me goosebumps, man. The thought of her. She's whoever that girl is. Man, what a fucking actress! Like that was such an amazing scene. Go check out VHS if you've never seen. But yeah, so you're right, Ben. That is a good point there. Then I put real quick the first big note already. Right, we're not even 4 minutes into this movie, which is very early on. It's pretty much just funeral footage and some found footage, and we already have a fucking grave robbery. And I'm like, oh, we're on a ride. Like we're going for a ride. We already have a fucking grave robbery, like night vision style grave robbery. Not even 4 minutes in the movie. So like. This is gonna be a wild one. You got if you guys want to jump in there from there too, because then it kind of just goes in the FBI.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in with you on that opening scene. I watch a lot of true crime stuff. A lot of true crime. I watched a lot of good found footage movies, so they got that combination down pat. Cause I was expecting more of a found footage, but then once I started watching it, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is like. You're diving right into a true crime, just a setup right away. Like I said, the funeral and the way they set this whole thing is like they're foreshadowing what they're about to take you, what kind of like darkness they're about to take you down into, and not even just that, it's the opening scene too. Like I mean, not just that opening scene. I'm sorry, the title scene is when the whole overhead view of like small town wooded area. It adds every time you see this stuff. There's always something about this stuff happens in cities too, but it's always something about these small town heavily wooded areas always have some form of serial killer like lore or whatever, and aura, and then it's almost like I put down, and there's the other thing they always focus on. Everyone I've seen, they focus on. You always see bridges. There's always a bridge in these small towns that just go across the other town. These older bridges, they always have those in it. So there's a lot of, I put down dark history, lore, sense of isolation, So that plays right off the more of the true crime documentary right away before it gets into any of the found footage stuff.
That's
what I was saying on that part. So
and that's what I was gonna say too. I think so. Like you see that overhead shot a lot, but for some reason I thought this one was done really well because you had that overhead shot plus the fucking it kept like interluding with the scenes of the funeral, and then it kept showing clearly that's Cheryl. Like we can obviously safely assume. I think they say Cheryl pretty early on. I think it's literally on the tombstone.
They talk about her a bunch. I think it's on the tombstone. I feel like if you look up the synopsis of this movie, I'm pretty sure.
It's a good catch. I kind of missed that first.
Also, by the way, again, if you haven't caught on, these shows are this spoiler alert shows. Like you if you've never seen the movie before, maybe go back and watch it, or just follow along with us because it might make you want to go back and watch it. So.
See, whenever we talk about stuff too, though, even if we like spoil. By the way, there's nothing to really spoil in this movie because it's to show how psychotic this guy is. But that's the point. Is we're talking about all these crazy fucking antics that this guy does. Yeah. Check it out because it's better to see it. It's better to we could describe it as often as we want, but it doesn't.
Yeah, but this is a visual movie. Like all movies obviously are visual.
This more so, more so than
you need to see this movie to really understand like what we're saying. Because there's some stuff in here that's not going to sound right because it doesn't. There's no way to really describe it without you seeing it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you can read you can read and listen to an audiobook, right? And like your mind can like visualize what's going on. And our dissertation of the movie should be able to describe to you kind of what's going on. We also don't go note by note, shot by shot either, like because there is a little bit left to the imagination. We want you to go out and check these movies out that we talk about.
I got a lot of things on this that have like I think will incorporate what we're feeling with this movie.
Yeah.
Feelings
going from there. Yeah, it's a good it's a well-paced movie too. Like early on, before we get into anything crazier, because this is one of those movies we just got to talk about the whole thing like essentially in a row, timeline wise. It's a well-paced movie. They do a good job of kind of going back and forth between like FBI and like cop footage and stuff, or cop like interviews about the case, and then even like witnesses or victims or survivors or stuff like that, to like footage of the killer. And like one scene I think was pretty early on that was wild was they actually I'm probably gonna jump a little bit. Let me just make sure I'm because we're already right into this. So so they do a bunch of interviews with the FBI, etc. Which and they're all decent. It's a good setup, and some of them are even kind of funny. Like what's funny about detectives and people like that in real life too. I mean, if you ever watched those the autopsy show from back in the day, like the early 2000s, they all kind of have a sense of humor, and some of them, like if you watch like the Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix or whatever, or the Richard Ramirez documentary that was really good. Some cops almost talk about these guys like they almost, even though they're evil and they're they're villainous and you don't want to like them or respect them, you almost have to give them a little credit because of how smart they actually are a lot of the time. Like Ted Bundy, incredibly smart man. Like the way he was able to do some things when you're a detective and you're tracking these people down, I feel like they almost become like connected a little bit to them because you learn everything about them. You know what I mean? And they kind of become not friendly, but like
well, that too, but like they also there's that one guy when they show the actual Ted Bundy, not to skip too far ahead, you can clearly tell that he's talked to him before and he kind of has to be friendly in a way.
Oh yeah, in this movie they do have a little clip right where they show like a guy who interviewed Ted Bundy, and then they showed that to break that in. Which
Ted Bundy. But by the way, that guy, I didn't write down the guy's name. It was like a one and done that he did. They got a guy that looks really fucking similar to Ted Bundy. By the way, I want to just.
They did find quite a few actors lately for quite a few different Ted Bundy movies that look just like him. It's pretty crazy how like a lot of actors that start to look like serial killers.
Yeah. And what I liked with the beginning, like Ed said, where they're talking about all the FBI people and they're interviewing the main. So oddly enough, it kind of had a subplot of some kind when they're showing the like the trainees, when they're the old detective guy with the turtleneck. He's like, I'm gonna tell you guys straight out. you're gonna watch this stuff, and some of you are gonna leave. By the way, if you pay attention, some did leave.
Yeah.
Which
I
I
like
like,
that, the
that
classroom
detail.
scene. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But like that's like a little subplot in this fucking 80-minute long movie, and I think that was a really cool thing. Like there's little details, and like you could tell it like that. We'll just call them kids because realistically they're actually more of them are probably younger than me at this point too, which is crazy. So it's like you could tell, dude, they're fucking terrified of all the footage that they're seeing, especially with the first one that you get to really see with the little girl, which we can go into that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, that I'll say some of that real quick, and I also have some things to play along with what you guys are saying too. One, that scene was very.
Before that, don't forget. Before the little girl scene.
Oh, it was the balloon thing.
We're forgetting everybody. Yeah, thank you. We're forgetting
Sorry.
everybody's favorite scene.
Oh yeah.
The fucking odd balloon scene made me laugh a little bit. Like the girl blows up a balloon and she has
he
to
does a
pop
lot
it.
of takes are kind of sporadic. That's why we're kind of.
Yeah, like but I think it's like the rope-a-dope. Like that's kind of what I was getting to with talking about the way some of the cops almost sound like they admire these guys. In real life, they really do sound like that. So when the classroom scene, when he's going over stuff, he almost has an admiration in his voice when he's talking about how clever this guy is, or even though he's horrified by it. Go ahead.
That's what, and I'm going with you on that. That's what, not even just detectives. I think a lot of us who are true crime and serial killer fans, I say it loosely because we have a fascination with that type of stuff. We don't ever want to see anything horrible happen to people, but I think human beings are so attracted to the psychology of in the imagination. I hate using imagination with it, but it is kind of like imagination, smarts.
It's the idea of the unknown, right? So like. Yeah, you think like a normal person, you know, like you might get road rage, or you might want to fucking, if you really get upset, you might want to throw something, or you might want to throw a can through a window, or you might want to fucking whatever. You might just want to punch a wall sometimes.
Yeah, I trust those people more than.
But like, how do you get right? But and a lot of the time, the people that snap like this are the people that like are the ones in. Like your next door neighbor that wears a fucking cardigan in 95-degree weather. Like, oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? Hey, Mr. Rogers. Like, like, they're the fucking sickos. They're the crazies. Like, the ones like us who are lunatics who have fun, and, you might smash a beer can over your head once in a while. Like, have a little bit of fun. But we're, I'm not going to go any further than that. I might, I might go streaking once in a while or whatever. Hey, let me know if you want to see it. I'm only kidding. I don't want to see it. So, but what I was getting at with that is they did a good job showing the balloon scene first, which kind of like, you get a hint of crazy, but you also are like, oh, this is kind of funny. Like, oh, I'm gonna be set up with like some silly shit here, like what and then it goes into the scene talking to the little girl with the dolls is very well done and it made me very uneasy. Like that scene was
kids,
was fucking
man.
like I'm already getting like goosebumps talking about it when he walks up to her, and that is real. Like that.
And that kid was smart too.
Yeah, she's like, I don't, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers or whatever. He's like, oh hey, and then when he said like. That's the one. I think it's the opening scene when he's like, "Hey, you want to look at my camera?" And then he like smashes over the fucking.
And you hear it. That's the terrifying thing. Like,
well, that's what's amazing about this movie.
Yeah.
The cinematography and the sound design, fantastic. Because I don't think you ever actually see. There's not very many, if any, scenes where you actually see him doing anything to anybody.
The guy when he in the car with the hammer.
But
I got 2 kill scenes I wrote down.
Yeah, which we can get into later, but. The big one,
how many tapes you see, it's not torture porn. It's
it's close. It's close to how Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the first movie. They don't show you a lot, but they give you enough to make you cringe.
Oh, I think it's worse. I think it's the same idea as why when we were younger, like even as adults, why is the Victoria's Secret magazine still hotter than a Playboy? It's because your mind wants to be like
it's the implication.
Yeah. The implication. Yeah, the implication. The implication.
That word means a lot more to
the implication.
Yeah. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference.
Yeah, that one word means a lot more to It's Always Sunny fans. Ooh, the implication. It's the implication.
Yeah.
But it's true.
We saw it on a boat. The implication.
So that scene. So like obviously, no matter what, something with children is always a big deal. Obviously, your brain always goes to sleepaway camp is always going to be that one big thing with kids. Yes, that also. That
with Georgie in both the original and the remake, and then the fucking opening in the original, the made for TV one. with the little blonde girl like running through the fucking the
in
sheets
the
being
Pennywise.
hung.
Oh, in the
and
sheets?
sheets.
Yeah.
And again, it's
Probably one of
always
the best
scared
scenes
the
in
shit
that
out of me.
Yeah.
That movie, that scene always
Yeah.
terrified me because
Yeah.
I have a little sister who's a little blonde girl, you know,
Right.
like so
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shit, you know. And I'm a dad of a daughter, like, but as a ute,
A
as
ute.
my cousin Vinny would say, what is a ute? So, um,
So that scene
it's
definitely
just one of those
hits.
things.
Yeah, it's gonna hit a
It
lot
hits you.
harder for other people than it would for me, but it still is. That was a really impactful scene. That's a scare that's
Yeah.
straight out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one of the big fucking no-nos that you always do in horror movies is don't fuck with kids, and that's like the first thing that they do as a big scare, big kill is a kid.
Well, and I'll play on that with everything we said with the interviews and everything. One, I gotta throw out there when they discover the tapes.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too.
Oh, and they
And
keep
all
showing
the
flashes
boxes.
to the fucking boxes and the corpses in
Yeah.
the back and shit.
Yeah, because and that's the great thing. The way they go back and forth like that, the way they tell the story that way, they keep you really. They don't just stay straightforward. They keep showing things. They keep hinting towards what's about to happen. Then when it does happen, and keep moving towards putting the story together. And I put like it was something about that many VCR tapes, and then the way they lay them out and put them like as some videography crime case files. The way they laid them out like that, it was very ominous looking, and they almost looked like its own character. Those tapes look like their own character.
Yeah, and it's like a 100
on the
fucking
cover and
it's 100 feet long. It's literally, so if you're watching it live, what Joe's talking about is literally the poster that I'm pointing to right here. So picture that, and the guy had to walk it at least for like a minute straight.
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
just,
yeah, he just keeps going.
And
And even crazier, he's like, here to here is just Cheryl.
it's just one
And it's
person.
like,
that's right.
yeah.
And I
Which is
posted
even
that picture of the
fucking
guy doing that too, actually, with his blurred
Yeah.
face. So I love that, and you can see it. It's just like that's terrifying that this guy has been able to pull all this stuff. And what's great about the movie, it's like we talk about the true crime feel when they talk to all the victims' families. They talk to the FBI agents with their dark humor because that happens in actual real true crime
Yeah,
documentaries.
it does.
And then when you get to the killer, that's where it's the found footage. And not only is it a found
Mhm.
footage, it's through the eyes of the killer now. So you got that narrative.
And don't forget too, another cool part is if you look at the dates, sometimes there are dates on the bottom of the camera footage. It's old. It's from the 80s. But
Yeah,
they're
I didn't
talking
catch
in
that part
modern
until
times.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking in modern times, and I didn't realize how big of a jump. And there's a reason why they do that, because I don't want to jump to the end, but there when they, yeah, I can't say it yet. Well,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a reason.
I want to know this little thing you caught. I missed it.
It circles back. So in other words, like you don't realize, like chronologically, you don't realize how significant it is that it's like modern people talking about old tapes, because you don't really get a grasp on how long this guy was doing this. Because most serial killers, it's a couple years, 2-3 years, you know, and then they're done. They catch them by that point, especially in the 80s when there was a lot of that going on.
I'm again in that. Not all of them, but what we like they said, what they know, what we know. We know
Yeah.
the ones they're caught. We don't know the ones that are not caught.
Well, right. That's the other thing, right? Like how many? Well,
They said
and
the guy
again,
said there's at least like 25 to 50 active serial killers, and he said that in modern times. So the movie came out like 10 years ago.
Modern, modern 2009, you know, or 7, whatever the fuck this movie came out. But so then circling back to the movie, I did like when the older cop or whatever was saying, what does he say? He says, "This is nothing. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet." I thought was a really good setup to like, because that he does that when they show the little girls scene. I think that's the older guy who's like teaching the classroom. He's like, "Oh, this is nothing yet. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet." When he said that, you're like, "Oh, like this is him starting in like the fucking early 80s." So like that's why when you look at the old car, it's like an old Ford wagon, you know, like from the 70s, whatever. So like you don't, when you catch on to that, you're like, "Oh shit!" Like, so how long did this guy? How long was he doing this?
How long was he actually doing it for?
And then when you see the line of tapes, you're like, "What the fuck?"
On that too, it's I liked the point that they made when they go back to the profiler and he's like, "Oh, like there's always a way to pick out what they did, who they are as a person." Except this guy, they weren't able to tell. Was he ever divorced? Did somebody ever fuck him over? Did he lose a job? Did he do this? We have no clue. Because he was so sporadic and intelligent about everything
Right.
that he did, which is the scariest part, because once he really started figuring out what he was doing, that was it, man. There was nothing that you could do. Like, he's starting to fucking do sign language and shit.
And okay, I didn't know if you were done yet.
No, go for it.
No, and I was going with that, and then that's the other thing too. You see the progress, and then with these movies or even any cases, you see a progression with this killer. Even though he's still sporadic, you see the progression through his story through the tapes, and that's really interesting. And then then all the other stuff is very snuff film-ish too. So you got that part integrated with it too.
And they had one poor guy watch every tape.
That
poor guy.
Oh, he said his wife saw it and watched when she's like
for a half hour.
Watch this for like a month. Yeah.
They didn't. Yeah. He said he didn't get to touch her for a year straight.
Oof. Oh, he didn't touch her. Oh, her. I think he said touch the tapes. Her.
No, her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the wife watched like one tape or something
for a half hour of it too. She didn't watch the whole thing.
Man. Yeah.
But again, that's all just setting you up for like what we're gonna see later on. You still don't really have a grasp on what this guy's even doing yet. And then they show this is when they show him kill the couple. I think he gets like he's almost like a hitchhiker. He pulls he says that he's broken down, right, or he needs help or something.
Yeah.
And then he gets in the car and like he's filming him, and even that was super smart because they say, "Oh, what's with the camera? Oh, I'm making a documentary on like like the roads of the West or whatever he said."
Yeah, my journey or something like that.
We're gonna be movie stars. Like the wife was so ecstatic about it.
Yeah, and then and that's. Dude, especially today, more so than ever, because now everybody's got a fucking camera out. Everybody's got a phone now. Like everybody's a TikTok star now, or whatever the hell they are. Like, so it'd be creepier if you saw somebody with a handheld camera. You'd be like, "Yo, dog, like you can go buy like a smartphone now, right? And it's gonna be way better quality than that." And they're like, "I promise, like that 8mm camera's for your movie." Okay.
And be like, "Wait, what's that? Like, what's that hammer in your hand?"
Yeah, what's that? What's that doing?
What are you doing with it? What are you doing with that?
Better to be a hammer in his hand than a hammer in his pants. That's all I'm saying. Anyways,
to some people.
To some people, right?
You got to chisel away at something.
Yeah, I got to.
Oh, true.
Good call. But yeah. So by that point, like, what the hell was I gonna say? When they're breaking down. Like, this is when they start kind of breaking down some of his kills. Once they show the couple getting killed, like they show that fucking. The weird, like they found the corpse. I think it was the corpse of the couple, the wife or whatever.
It was that couple.
They had like a male head in its stomach or something, and like he cleverly placed the fucking head in the stuff. Like I was like, what the fuck is this?
How is she still alive though?
What are you talking about?
He woke her up. She was alive. He kept like tapping her to have her wake up, and her eyes start opening, and then she looks down, and the head's in her tummy.
Oh, you keep people alive for some things. I don't know how.
I don't remember seeing that. I must have been typing.
Yeah,
I saw just like the corpse, like when they found like the.
Nope.
They showed pictures. Like,
I wish I watched this twice. Things move so fast.
He like wakes her up, and then that's when you first see it, and you can like barely see. You can see like the top of it, and like you can kind of like see like the eyebrows and like the eyes and shit of the husband's head. But nope, she was still alive when it.
I was talking about the. Because I must have been typing during that. That's the other thing. You're right, Joe. This movie moves so fast, and I'm typing, and then Kristen's sitting watching it with me, and like,
oh God bless her.
What the hell? Like, that was kind of crazy too.
You not touched me for a year.
I didn't know what we were getting into. I had a feeling about it, but I had to watch a palate cleanser after this, which we'll get into later on, because she's like, "This is your fucking palate cleanser." I'm like, "Hell yeah, this is the guy's name is Dr. Giggles."
Teehee.
That's a great palate cleanser because it's goofy as hell.
Yeah, keeping in the same mindset, making you think about what you just watched, but goofy as hell. And I haven't seen that in a long time. I would love to talk about that movie someday, but
we will.
Oh yeah, this is another good one. All right, so.
Yeah, that's when you also figure out like how fucking smart the guy is, because they pointed out that like they found like the camera footage at the gas station, and he's doing like the sign language and shit to spell Red House.
You're jumping a little bit. Yes, that's right where it is, but you also have to fill in like. So they realized this is when they start explaining that he must have known a perfect stretch of highway with every single gas station. So like this is when they're talking about again how clever this guy is and like how smart he is to be able to do this.
Which goes with the opening scene when
Correct.
everything's panned over, you see all the woods and stuff.
Correct. and they're like, oh, the only image we have of him, and then that's when they show him, and it's him with a like hiding his face doing sign language, and it turns out the sign language means something about the red house, and he hadn't even, if you look at the date on the footage, it's before
He killed the
he
two.
killed the people. So like he knew he was gonna kill somebody and then bring them to this red house where they found them. So it's like,
Just like they
that's
said
how
too,
clever this guy is.
the first vulnerable person he saw. That was it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Vulnerability. Vulnerability? Is that the right?
You got it, buddy.
My tongue's still not working. Fine. Vulnerability.
If you
That's
just say it,
It's
just
what
say
bothers
each
me the
syllable.
most in horror is vulnerability. Vulnerability bothers me like crazy.
vulnerability. Okay, enough. That's the name of that's the tagline in this show. Can Ed or Joe get out vulnerability the right way?
Vulnerability. I'm
Both
saying
of
it
us-
pretty good. I'm saying it fast.
You're on. You're on, my friend. Yeah, so this is when you really start to get like a good grasp of like what this dude is really kind of capable of, but you're still not. There's still like just dangling carrots in front of your face, like, oh, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, and like you're again, and they're still talking about him like they keep on talking about how smart he is and how clever he is, and they run down like I don't know if this is right around where they do it or not, but when they're, I think the profiler guy or whatever is talking about the eyewitness interviews, or when they're going through all the different profiles of all the different killings, and they're like, yeah, this one's saying he just must be a guy who's been fired recently in money trouble and crazy. This one's saying very intelligent, high intellect, knows what he's doing. This one's saying he must be law trained because he understood all this stuff. This one's saying he must have extensive knowledge of like butchery or whatever, like. And
yeah,
it's
was he
like
said the killer knows
stack of 'em.
bureaucracy or something like that?
Yeah.
He
And like
understands
the
bureaucracy, that's
profiles
crazy.
on all the different killings were a different profile for each. Like it literally had like every kill was a different like personality in this guy's brain, or he's just that fucking smart to know like, oh, this is how I'm going to keep them off my trail. I think they were talking about that later on, but
Yeah,
anyway,
that was like
they talk
closer
about that.
to closer to the end, but that's still a good point.
Yeah.
That's still a good thing to say. Yeah, but then that's when they found, and then right after that, that's when they found the body with the old head. And is it? I see. I don't. I normally try not to write notes for myself, because for me, like once I start writing notes, then like I just can't stop, and then my brain doesn't start like focusing on the actual movie itself.
I'd be doing the notes after the movie, like right after it.
Right. This is what I should do. But is that when like they started talking about like his fascination with saws and like all of that shit, and like it's like that?
I think that's a little bit later. From the image of the killer, it goes into not only does he know how to dispose of bodies, he also knows to dispose of bodies in many different ways. That's when they talk about that.
Yeah.
That's when they're talking about. So they say that line right after they show his face. He hides his face. They said that line specifically. Not only does he know how to dispose of bodies, he knows how to dispose of bodies in many different ways. Which is when they start talking about like, oh, sometimes he'll use a hacksaw, sometimes he'll use this, sometimes he'll use
and
whatever. Like
he tapes it. He tapes him doing the entire thing too, like fucking cutting off the hands and like getting rid of the fingernails, and like he burns off the fingerprints and shit. Takes a little torch to it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. They show like a montage.
Yeah, it's a montage, and he gets a sweet montage of like knocking out all the teeth for the dental record, so you can't identify him and shit.
Yeah.
So like,
it was wild.
Crazy motherfucker cuts up these people and dumps them 100 miles away from, like, in a radius 100 miles distance. So there's no way in hell you could ever identify that person.
It was like the New York border of Poughkeepsie, and then to like somewhere in like the edge of Pennsylvania, which is crazy. Reading, he did Reading, Lancaster. There's he had some victims. He's all over between that little line right between.
How does he afford all of this stuff?
310 miles.
Well, back then gas was pretty cheap.
Yeah, but he's that's
I
my
think
one.
it was the 80s.
That's my one question.
Gas wasn't even 50 cents a gallon.
Gas was cheap enough for serial killers.
No, that's true, but like he clearly had a lot of.
Nowadays would be on a budget.
This motherfucker had a lot of time on his hands. He had a lot of tools. He could afford hookers. He could afford balloons. I wish I could afford balloons.
But that's the thing. We don't know what he did.
He did get balloons and hookers though at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could afford all this stuff.
So
where does he get this money?
Maybe this guy's related to American Psycho, because that guy was into fucking hookers and
into hookers,
not balloons, but drugs and coat hangers. Anyways,
he had raincoats.
American Psycho, another fucking absolute classic. If,
Been a long time.
you've never seen it,
I want to read a
what
book
a
first.
movie! What a goddamn movie! It's so good. I've heard the book's fantastic too. It's different though. I think the ending or something, but yeah. So the editing again with the FBI agent and the killer cutting up the body is a good touch, which we just talked about. And then here we go. This is when it starts getting really good. This is right around I think the halfway point of the movie. Maybe not, but I have a lot more notes after this. I put Cheryl Dempsey. Oh boy, I thought the guy taking the talking was the plague doctor mask guy, but the other guy
That was a hell of a costume.
Yeah. Oh, so when he's in the bathroom, right, and he sneaks in and she's in the shower, and he walks in. I thought when she was talking to a guy, I thought the killer was the one talking to her about ice cream. Like I thought he was like throwing his voice. No, it's not him, which is even fucking creepier to me. Because he gets all the way into the bathroom while she's in the shower, filming her in the shower, and you hear a guy's voice talk. I'm thinking that it's his voice talking to her.
Yeah.
It's not. He gets out, he sets up the camera at an angle at the fucking closet. Then you see her come out of the shower. You see a guy come in with ice cream. You see her and him talking for a little while with the door of the closet cracked open. You can't ever see him, but you know that he's in there. Ice cream and beer, yep. I did that yesterday.
Sounds like my Saturday nights.
I had a long day. So you don't see him in the crack ever, but you know that he's in there, right? So like it's even fucking more creepy. So it's like a long shot of him just filming them talking. Somehow they never see the camera, whatever. But like that whole scene, then chasing the chick down with the shadow of him, with him punching her in the head to knock her out was fucking insane. Like the whole thing where he like chases her down. Fucking nuts, man! Because he kills the guy first, right? Doesn't he stab him or something? Or
he smashes the glass or something, and then he forces the guy to turn around. And he just like you don't really see it either, which is really you just hear the sounds.
Yeah, he does something, yeah. And then he chases that girl down, and like you just see like the silhouette of him like smashing the fucking dude. But that's what's horrifying about that. Like that seems real. It feels real. It feels like that is more believable than like your classic fucking Jason Voorhees movie, or you know what I mean, like one of those kind of movies. Like those have their place. They're scary in their own way, but like this is intense. Like
this touches upon real situations.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't do my research, so I couldn't tell this. I mean, there's moments I could tell it was acting, or I thought it was reenacting. I'm like, is this real stuff? What's going on here? So I didn't dive in.
Nuts.
I just went with it. So it kind of messed my head a little bit. And again, vulnerability. The worst fear you can ever have is somebody hiding in your house and we're tough. We know how to handle ourselves, but once they sneak up on you like that, what can you do?
Dude, if you don't fucking know.
You don't know.
You have no idea.
And he sneaks in because you don't see the mask right away until he kind of like covers into that closet.
Oh, dude, when he's sitting in that closet and he's sitting there for like at least 2 hours. Yeah, he's in there for at least 2 or 3 hours.
This guy is that's terrifying.
That's a real thing. Whoever made this movie, I kind of want to go and try to find an interview with them. Whoever wrote this movie,
I already wrote down.
They had to. Oh, you found one? I was gonna say they must have taken. Well, I was gonna say they must have done a ton of research on a bunch of different serial killers and like just created the perfect one. They just took things from all of them because it's.
I would throw this in there to right now, real quick. Just get this quick on that play off that because of how real these scenes are and the way he did it. The director's name is John Dottle, I think. He did Quarantine. He did As Above, So Below, which I didn't see yet, but I heard it's really good. And he also did Devil.
To see that. Oh, Devil!
So he's
Devil, the fucking Shyamalan
the one with
movie?
the mom. No. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe he did do Devil. I saw Devil, but the one I'm thinking was Devil Inside, but that's not the one. Maybe he did the Shyamalan one because Devil Inside is a found footage. I thought he did that because all these movies are found footage.
The Devil Inside, I feel like I've seen. Isn't that
Devil Inside is pretty decent. That's more the mom in the religious horror. That it was really freaky. That's
the one where fucking Acacia Strain took the line.
He did.
Yes. For Doom Blade or something like that. Yes, exactly from that movie.
Yeah, he did the M Night Shyamalan
recordings, the real recordings. Yes. So, but I think he did.
He did do the Devil, the M Night where they're stuck in the elevator. That was him.
Devil.
So he wrote
that was a good movie too.
Devil?
No, he just directed it. M Night Shyamalan wrote it. The last movie that he made.
I like that movie. A lot of people didn't like it.
Good.
I thought that.
I liked it. It was No Escape in 2015. The movie with fucking Owen Wilson. And then
I know I've heard of that movie. I don't know if I've ever actually seen it.
So this. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
go ahead,
the last thing I was
So-
gonna say is he made Waco a series. I don't know.
Oh, that's supposed to be
Oh, the
very
one
good.
Netflix. Oh, that was
Yeah.
very
That's
good.
supposed to be very good. I've never
Okay.
seen that.
So he
That's
knows
supposed
his
to be very
stuff
good.
with some really tough
Yeah.
topics. So with this movie, he put one. I wrote for Scars magazine when I lived in Rhode Island before I did Bloodborne magazine, and then they did an interview. I think with him. I can't find the damn magazine. With for the Poughkeepsie tapes. God
You
damn
guys
it.
both say it's Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie. Like just be
And
like Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie. Thank you. We are
Yeah, there
doing
you
our
go.
own speech therapy
Simple.
here. And
No,
so
no, sorry, because Ben the other day kept on calling it Poughkeepsie, and I'm like, it's not fucking
That's what I
dough.
can put-
It's
it's
not like
po-
not like
No, well,
dough boy.
it is. You can't. They do
Boy.
pronounce it as Poughkeepsie a couple times.
Motherfucker, we ain't from we're now from Western New York. Get out of here. We say it Poughkeepsie. I'll say it easy. We're gonna say it like the East Coast assholes that we are.
We are East Coast assholes, and then,
You know? And that's what we
so,
do. But it's okay.
um,
Ben was saying it weird too. I busted his balls the other day too.
it was supposed to come out in 2008. It never did. It got dropped
Okay.
by MGM. MGM was distributor.
Okay.
It was supposed to come back in 2014. Got dropped again. It finally hit streaming services 2017. I thought it was a little sooner. I thought it was like more recent than that. So my assumption is because he pulled a Blair Witch, he's like, oh, this is really truly based on true events, which is not really. He took a bunch of stuff from actual murders that happened in Poughkeepsie
Okay.
that's similar, all different stuff, and from Ted Bundy's cases. So he did a mix. So a
Yeah,
lot of
this
stuff
was-
is like,
This
Yeah.
was super Ted Bundy. Like, so
Yeah.
it's ironic that it's not ironic. I mean, it makes more sense why they showed the clip of like the fake like interview footage with Ted Bundy.
mhm.
If you know the Ted Bundy story, like this is a lot of this was like he would walk up to people and like get them to believe him and like smash them in the head or fucking
Yeah.
you know, like he did a lot of that kind of stuff. He was very
Yeah.
he was very smart, very charming. He would walk up to you and he'd play with your kids at like a fair or whatever. He would like scout you out. And very
Oh,
manipulative.
very.
You've never seen
Yeah.
the best thing on Ted Bundy is it's with his he had a live-in girlfriend
hmm
the whole time.
That's
he
the
was
one
killing
Hulu,
people.
right?
Yeah, that fucking
we
that
watched that one.
documentary. I believe it's on that. Like what the fuck is that called? Ted Bundy was my dad, or I was fucking some weird shit like
Yeah.
that. But it's an interview essentially with like the ex-girlfriend wife and her daughter like talks about it a bunch. Like from her point of view as a little girl growing up with this guy in your house, knowing that he went and slaughtered, you know, how many fucking women or whatever, like across the country essentially. It's one of the better documentaries and it's incredibly well done. And to hear it from their take, it's very interesting because they do get into a little bit more with them. And it was did we lose you? Oh, you're talking to somebody?
No. I'm trying to
I
focus
thought-
my goddamn camera.
Oh yeah.
It keeps wearing. I think it's because I'm wearing this.
The two mask thing. They kept on in that documentary. They talk about how clever Ted Bundy is, and
hmm
they talk about they show some actual footage of him like representing himself because he was a law student. He was going to be a lawyer, and it just man, what is a really nice thing about that movie? If you have women in your family that you respect or love, it's actually like a woman's empowerment movie kind of too because it talks about that was all going on during like the peace and love shit in the 60s or yeah, right, so like kind of late when like women were like kind of coming out in the workforce and like having like women's rights marches and stuff in college and stuff, and it was during a lot of that time. So it's a really
Mhm.
it's actually a really powerful movie to see because he talked to some of the survivors that like one lady that got away from it, she's all fucked up now, like he stabbed her in the head and shit, and like
Jesus.
if you hear her talk, like she went on with her life and just
Now,
like lived a normal
somebody-
life. She had kids and
Somebody just
So
pointed
good.
out. Somebody just pointed out in chat. Ted. Now I want your guys' opinion. Ted
Mhm.
Bundy is not hot.
the real guy.
The real.
I was
the
underwhelmed.
real Ted
when
Bundy.
when I saw the footage in this documentary.
I can
was
see why
actually a little
people think
underwhelmed.
so. I'm in between with that. He's got a little charm. I think it's the charm.
Well, it depends on when you see him. Crazy Ted
Yeah.
Bundy that was locked up. When he actually snapped and was locked up,
There
he
you
did
go.
start losing it. He wasn't quite as dashing, but when he was young,
Dashing.
he had so I come from sales, right? And I've been around sales for a long time. Salespeople, and this guy was a fucking salesman. You know them when you see them.
Mhm.
A lot of them are very like there's a natural charismatic thing that some people have. Like I have that, and I know that I have that. Like that's why I'm good at sales. I have a thing. I have a gift of gab. Like I can talk to anybody. I can go to a grocery store, and I'm the guy that will, pull like a loose hair off the back of your shirt, and then next thing you know, I have a best friend in line. Like or whatever the case may be. So like I have that ability, not to go crazy, but well, maybe a little bit. Who knows, right? But spoiler alert. But I'm gonna get it. So, but like you can see that. So like when you have that ability, you can see that ability. There's like a natural attraction. I think, and that's with a lot of things. Like a lot of engineers will become friendly because they think the same way, and engineers are fucking weird, and they think a certain way. Horror writers, right? Like that's a niche thing. Writers in general.
I'm very extroverted when I'm out there talking horror and all that. I can go at it all
Right.
day. And we talked
When
about
you're
it before.
around
I'm
your
not a type
people,
A personality, but I go in
right.
there. I can
But
go.
but it's there's like a natural magnetism that people can have with each other, right? And when you have a like-minded person, it's easier to like get along with that person. So like when you go to like a book conference or a convention or a writers convention, you might not know anybody there. You're gonna make 15 friends. Like, and again, you're not a super extrovert person, but like in that situation, because you're around like-minded people, you can have a children's
I'm a good
fiction
mingler.
novel.
I'm a very good mingler.
Yeah, and in that situation,
Yep.
you're around people that you respect and admire, and they do the same to you, because writing is a hard thing. You don't write for fame. You write for the creative outlet that it gives you. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to talk on your behalf.
No,
but
you're pretty much well, at least with me,
how
hitting
many
the nail on the
how
head.
many books are published literally every day in the country, just in this country alone,
It's
right?
getting harder
How
and
many of
harder.
them become how many of them become New York Times bestsellers? Out of those, how many? So it's one out of every 10,000, one out of every
I mean, it all depends. I
20,000.
mean,
I
if
mean,
you
it's
go with horror genre,
well, any genre though, like literally any genre. So my
you
point
have
though
more of
is
a
like,
chance other genres than horror.
yeah, but
At
like
least in
you see
my
what I'm saying with that? It's
observation.
so you as a writer, so that what I'm getting at with that nonsense is not nonsense, but that discussion is like if you're a salesperson, you're a salesperson. Like, so when you look at somebody like a Ted Bundy, like he had a thing. Like there was like a calculated look in his eyes. Like if you see old pictures of him, you can see there's something. You can tell there's something up. Like I'm telling you, man, when you look at the old pictures of this guy, not just because we know now, but like
No, you can tell.
some people you can just see.
So
like if you see old pictures of like Ed Gein,
he
was fucking batshit crazy.
He was
like,
crazy as fuck.
And like, or Richard Ramirez. Any single picture of Richard Ramirez, you tell me he looks like a normal person. He doesn't. He looks like he's looking right through you in every single picture. He looks like, you ever see a deer's head mounted to a wall and it looks like, because they're black eyes,
Very
like
dull, or shark eyes.
And shark eyes, and it looks like they're looking at you from every angle
like
in a room without
yeah.
moving.
It's either dull or predatorial.
Certain serial or certain like yeah. So there's what is that what is that thing like our dad is that, what the fuck is it, narcissist? Like the narcissists have like a look
Cool.
like you can kind of see it. Like and like you can see, like once you know what if you look up the definition of narcissism, you can literally point them out just by listening to certain people talk. It's actually an easier trait to find when you actually understand what to look for.
Yeah.
But
so where does Ted Bundy fall on the daddy scale then?
Wait.
Well, he was a narcissist. If you actually, I mean,
daddy.
Too far off.
No, not our dad. I'm saying daddy.
Let me finish what I was gonna say real quick, and then move forward. And another thing too is interesting. There's speculation that because of how many years this movie took to get out, it is because we're talking about of the authentic and brutal content and how real it looks. And there's a lot of fear, and I remember this every time I do research and stuff, or hear about this within urban legends or within the filming industry. Snuff films, like they want to make sure they're not actually filming, allowing films to have actual torture scenes or real scenes of mutilation and self-harm, because sometimes you can't tell. That was the problem with the first Friday the 13th movie. People could not tell at the time, so that I think that plays a lot of part. That plays a lot of part.
Texas Chainsaw had the same problem. That
I thought it was a real movie. I didn't know though. I mean, it's based
that
on
was unrated,
but
that was the big thing with Cannibal Holocaust. The fucking director, the director literally got thrown in prison for like a week because at first they didn't know.
I said that so you could say that.
Yeah, they didn't know it was a fake movie. They had the director was so fucking smart in he was so smart in publishing his movie and advertising it. He had the actors all sign it in NDA saying, listen, because you're dead in the movie, don't fucking leave you can't leave your house for 90 days and made them stay away. So everybody thought they're actually dead in real life.
And that goes with like what he just did and what they did with Blair Witch, what they did with this movie, trying to really capitalize off the realism. And hey, I don't blame him. Let's play a little bit, but it can go places, you know, you don't want to go sometimes. So.
Oh, what's seeing a real dismemberment? I've been on 4chan enough to see all that shit. I'm just saying. We've all seen that. We've all seen that clip.
We've all seen beheadings.
Yeah, we've all seen that clip.
I watch Faces of Death. I don't need 4chan.
Yeah, listen. I can't say the group on Twitch. We can't say them, but let's just say the spy group in Archer. They had. It's 4 letters. It's 2 of the same letter back to back. ISIS. I can at least spell it.
Is that the one somebody said in Amityville Horror episode?
No, where they took.
Are we not allowed to talk about the hardcore band from the early 2000s named ISIS?
Oh, we can talk about them. Yeah, and the band.
We're not talking about metal.
The hardcore band.
I remember that.
Egyptian. Oh, the Egyptian goddess. Yeah, somebody just said it. The Egyptian goddess.
Oh yeah,
the Egyptian goddess took a chainsaw and literally cut somebody's head off. I think we've all seen that clip a few times. Circling around the internet. But anyway, it goes back into this crazy bit of realness with this movie that, holy shit, man! Like there's no way. Like, how often can you say you've seen stuff like that?
Just went around that.
My head's going crazy. Right
bring it right back.
Bring it back. All right, so
that was
bring
good.
It back.
That was good.
Speaking of bringing it back, let's bring it back to after we finally we see him capture Cheryl Dempsey. Cheryl Dempsey being tied up and being told to call herself a slave was fucking incredibly hard to watch.
This is why I thought
guys,
it was real.
I don't care if it was fake. That's harder to watch than any like Eli Roth movie.
Well, when he has this mask on.
Man, it was just tough to watch.
Man,
like,
you guys,
that stuff is hard.
You guys thought that was hard to watch. I thought that was funny.
Because that shit was that one scene. All right, this is where we're gonna differ opinions because that one scene I thought was so goofy. And he has
which one?
The one where he has the Victorian masquerade mask on, and he's got the cape, and he's like, "You're going to call me master, and you're my slave."
Oh yeah, that's goofy. But like what he's doing.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We're not talking about them.
No, those are 2 separate scenes. That's right.
Either way, him saying his character, he was never like. Like outside of the one time where he got real pissed at the fucking Pop the Balloon girl, like he never really broke. Got really angry. He was always pretty like calm. But that's why it's so creepy because if you're an asshole, a lot of the time, like when you're demanding somebody, fuck man, even Batman and the goddamn Batman because it was like, what like he has that like stupid fucking voice of his, or like like shit like that. So. This guy never really does that, and that's what's even kind of crazy about it. Beep beep. But then from there it goes into, and I put yikes into say you're happy that your family is dead scene. Like he told her that he was like that he killed their family, and he's like say you're happy that your family's dead, and like
I couldn't put any of this in my notes. I couldn't.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough, but you know like that's.
But it's well done.
It's very well done. It's tough as fuck to watch, and that's now we're getting into the point where like, it goes, and the other thing we haven't said is. This movie's like I think it's numbered in blocks. Like it'll have like a black screen with like
there's like chapters. They like chapters or parts.
I
think there's only 7 chapters.
That a lot.
Yeah, it was like fucking
her own
and that's where Zack Snyder gets it from.
Well, hey, the movie disappeared for 10 years. Anybody can steal from it.
Oh, true.
True. Who knows? That happens to a lot of movies though. I mean, Cabin in the Woods was made like 6 years before it fucking came out. Chris Helms wasn't even a thing yet.
Yep.
Helmsworth rather. Like he wasn't Thor yet when he made that movie. And then all of a sudden the fucking Avengers blows up and then they're like, "Oh hey, that movie that we got on the shelf back there with fucking Thor, let's throw that out." That movie sat on the shelf for like 4 years after it was made.
Yeah,
you say what, Cabin in the Woods? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Cabin in the Woods, yeah.
That movie's fucking awesome.
That's why Chris Hemsworth is in that movie because I think that was his first movie.
Yeah, they shot that like 4 years before Avengers or Thor.
Like
they shot before.
Is that at
well,
least?
Yeah.
It was 4 years before it came out. I don't know I think because Thor they definitely came. I think Kevin was came out in 2012.
You're kind of right. It was on the shelf for a couple of years at least.
It was
It
at
was,
least 3 or
100%.
4 years before Thor.
Chris Hemsworth that was his first movie that he ever shot, and like
Yeah.
he wasn't
And you
fucking
tell how
Thor yet.
young he's not that built. I mean, he's in good.
And
you
he
know?
did it in an English American accent too, which is weird. It was weird hearing him
Oh yeah, that's
talk.
Right. That's right.
I know it happens a lot.
He's an
I
actor.
sound weird in my own accent. You know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just from another planet.
Oh, crikey, Ben! What you're saying is, if I start talking like this, it's not gonna be weird.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw a weird Australian accent in there for some reason. Why not? Because I can. I drink Cayman Jacks all the time. I had me a bunch of them yesterday. All right. I love that. I mean, I get sick though. Like I'm all bloaty today. My face is a little.
I'm gonna follow you guys on these next few things until I got to the one certain scene. But yeah,
Then,
I'm gonna bounce off you guys on.
Then from there it goes from the killer walking up to the mom of Cheryl. Oh, this was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
It goes from him walking up to the mom of Cheryl, like when they like realized that she was gone, like they have cops there and like they're tracking. They thought she was dead. They thought
I felt
Cheryl
so
was
bad
dead.
for that fucking
The
mom,
boyfriend
dude.
was dead.
Typical serial
And then he
killer
walks
move.
up, and like the interview with the mom where she's like, I knew it was him. I just couldn't. I wasn't sure of what
this is the one time where I would have loved a perspective from the mom also, like even if it was like at the end of the movie, like or like a post-credit scene or something. I would have loved to see what that turning point was for the mother to realize, holy shit, it's this guy.
Because it's because the way he walked up to her, like you don't know this person. The questions that he's asking, he's not a reporter.
No, it was just a random guy.
And like there's like a cockiness the way he's
if there's anything I can do for you.
Yeah, there's no concern in his voice.
That dude's very condescending when he talks. It's big time.
Yeah. And then but that also immediately goes right into fucking Cheryl being all like gagged and bound with like claws in her mouth and shit, and he's fucking what the hell is he in? The killer feeds her water with a ladle. Oh yeah,
with the ball gag in her mouth too.
And it's she's not lit, and she's like feeding her water with a fucking ladle. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "What the fuck, man? Like that's not something I've seen before."
Yeah,
I've seen people in ball gags. Never seen somebody fed water with a ladle.
That was crazy. And he forces that mask on her too, so she's got that mask on for a good amount of time.
The creepy doll mask.
Oh yeah, that's when
creepy doll mask. Yeah.
That goes into him making her put on that fucking outfit where she starts wearing the mask.
And she's dressed like a maid. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, burlesque maid type of thing.
Is that the same scene where he forces her Cheryl to kill the lady?
That follows right after
that's what it's going into. That follows. So it goes from that into this is where the shit starts really getting heavy because they start showing like the torture and the psychological ride that he's putting Cheryl through. And then he gets a prostitute, and then she's trying to fucking escape, and that was another rough scene. And then like what's interesting is he has Cheryl kill her. So like he's not actually a full blown murderer. He makes her do it.
Charlie Manson.
Yeah, by this point, she's so under his will and so broken that she's now like she'll go and slice this this prostitute's throat or whatever for him. And this is like where how much did we not see? How much psychological torment did we not fucking witness? How much like we're just getting to see like the clips of what like they decided to show us, and this is where the surrealism starts kind of kicking into the movie because you're like, oh wait, and how many more boxes of tapes were there of just Cheryl? Like we're really getting like a glimpse of what's going on here. So I'm kind of surprised that they never made a second one to show you like more.
Right there, that would have been the.
Very glad that they did it.
They probably had an idea to do it, but
a perfect subtitle for Electric Boogaloo.
And maybe because the fact of how it got pulled, he maybe didn't want to do another one because of the content,
Poughkeepsie Tapes 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, and
it would have been a silly little adventure.
We're gonna have twice the fun, twice the balloon.
Got you.
Twice the death.
Yeah, and then that clearly must have been.
I gotta say the special effects on that when she.
Oh, very good.
Slit the because for a moment you're like, oh, did she do it? And then it made me think of Friday 13th Part 1 where the first girl, the hiker.
Yeah, and she fucking lifts up quick.
Yeah. Whoa! I'm like, oh my god.
They did a good job. And then that clearly, like whenever I think of that stuff, I always have to think about like the psychology and like what the person has to be going through. That right there had to have been the turning point for Cheryl to snap. She has that Stockholm syndrome's
again, no,
kicking in.
That's how we
but
make
again,
cults.
that we know.
Yeah.
But no, that we know. That's what we got to see. So what it could have been something before that we didn't get to see. There's a fucking football field's length in tapes.
If you really think about it, this is the perfect adaptation of Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
I was gonna say Frozen.
No, it's Stockholm syndrome. It's perfect. So Belle gets Stockholm syndrome from the Beast, and then she falls in love with him, Tangled. And then the same thing happens with Cheryl and Ed. So Ed is the Beast, Cheryl is Beauty, I guess, and then
I'd like to consider myself more of a Gaston, but you know.
Yeah, stupid piece of shit idiot.
The big muscle guy.
Got him.
Very handsome.
Got him.
12,
see what I do? I
stay.
This is why I stay out of the Sherman decking.
Got him.
Pickering. That's
So,
it. Jeez.
Here's this leads into another scene that got me, which is the Girl Scout scene. Man, that was fucking. I did not, dude. I wasn't surprised that they left.
Thank God.
He didn't seem to be big into killing little girls necessarily.
Even though he did it before.
When he realized, because he was grooming, he was questioning them to see if, did you tell your parents that you where you go? And one of them says no, and the other one says yes. As soon as he hears the yes, well, it's in his neighborhood, so he knows that they're from his neighborhood. So it means an easy search for them if something happens. Maybe I can still get away with it. Did you tell your parents where you went? No. Well, the other one says yes. Of course I did every time. So now
that
he knows,
one's smart. She's probably lying, but she's good.
He's doing the fucking checklist of like, wait, am I gonna get away with this one? Am I not gonna get away with this one? Am I gonna get away with this one? When they go, we're gonna leave now. When he says, you can see yourself out. Like, that's such a dickhead thing. I've told that to grown adults that irritated me at like a cocktail party.
Get out of here.
Party, but when I say cocktail party, I mean raging fucking.
Just remove the tail.
Fog
I'd prefer
8.8.
You can just see yourself out now. I don't think I've ever done that. I've definitely grabbed people and thrown them out by their belt loops
before kissing them on the lips, ever so tenderly.
I kissed a dude once or twice, but so the fucking Cheryl being the table is not what I expected. That was when he like lifts up the tablecloth and it's her like as the table. Did you guys catch on to that?
That's right.
Yeah, when the Girl
I
Scouts
had a moment.
are sitting there.
What the hell is going? Yeah,
I loved the one detail I actually really liked. It wasn't the fact that she was the table. It's the fact that to even further humiliate her, he put a fucking mirror right underneath her face, so she had no choice but to look at herself being this coffee table. And good call. I'm sure there was no cocaine on that mirror, but. Which would have been at least nice of him. Nice little snow treat.
So there's I'm gonna get into that mental note in a minute with the mask thing, but so then let's see here. We go into the setting up of the guy. Oh yeah, this is another fucking thing. This goes more into how smart this guy actually is. He sets up another guy.
I got some notes in this one.
Yeah, he sets up another fucking guy. Ends up like getting fucking found guilty. Then they show
because the killer faked as a cop many times.
Yep, because he the fucking scene with is this where they showed the scene with when he oh no that's not yet. This is right after this. The English lady. I don't want to.
I got that note down too.
But yeah, so he sets up a cop because he pretends to be a cop a bunch of times. We haven't seen him do that yet, and then all of a sudden we do see him do that in a minute. Spliced it they show like a reenactment of something, and then they show like spliced in home footage. It was all really good editing because they showed like a true crime like reenactment bullshit, almost like Unsolved Mysteries, and then they're splicing it in with real home footage of what he's been doing to people to this one specific murder or whatever with he set the cop up. Dude, good stuff, man. Joe, you had some notes on this if you want.
Yeah, so it goes into that, but goes into like deeper. More into like the lore and everything, and this is where this director knew what he was doing, and I think this is where he scared the shit out of people. So when they talked about how this cop, I think was his name, James Dooley, I think, so he gets set up, he gets put on death row, and then he denies it all the way up to his death. So then they find out he's not the killer post 9/11. Like I think like what? Yeah,
yes.
post 9/11.
Yes, good call. I'm glad
So
that you wrote
because
those
now
notes
this
down.
is where it's interesting to me. Now because of what media shifts, because we had a very dark history, a major attack on America at the time, and so media is going to shift towards that because of what's going on there. So yeah, anything serial killer related, and this is what I find interesting is you hear everything about serial killers. I talked with my wife about this. We watched true crime stuff from all the way to the 70s up till 9/11. You don't hear anything anymore over the years. A little bit here and there,
Yeah.
but not like we used to. So, and because of that, and this is from other stuff I watched. I think he did his research. You got what happened with this cop, so it kind of gets kind of sweep under the rug a little bit. So that's why this guy's able to do more stuff because they think he's a killer, but he's not the killer, but nobody really knows because of what happened with 9/11. This also created a thing within the underground world of over the years, a network of serial killers started to get built up. There's actually a documentary on this. Watch it. It's called The Killing Season on Prime. It's very recent. It's like 2016, 2017. And then that guy also did he just did what's the recent one just came out? Not Ramirez. He just did Sons of Sam. Same guy. He did that.
Yes, I've heard
So-
that's wicked good.
This guy does.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
He does a lot of stuff involving New York. So so he connected a lot of stuff involving a lot of underground serial killer networks because they started getting pushed under. Because of all the attention, but because they didn't get any more attention, they started going after like prostitutes and truck stops, a lot of trucker stuff. The show Big Sky involves that network. That show on Hulu, that's pretty decent, a little cheesy, but it plays off of that type of urban legend a little bit. So I find it interesting that was in this movie from 2007, and that's not to blow up more now. Sex trafficking and serial killers and the whole nine yards. So I just had to throw it out there.
So what you're saying is this guy is so smart he caused 9/11.
I think there's a lot of like omens that caused that led up to that.
No, I'm just
Oh.
no. Do you
Well,
think
real quick.
so? Do you think that
Going
Oh, let's have Ed say something.
well, I was gonna say this kind of plays into what I was bringing up earlier with you don't catch on until right around now on how long this has actually been going on, and then once you realize that this cop was let free on 9/11 or the day after 9/11,
It was like
that
2
was
days
totally
after
not
or
talked
something.
about, which I'm not going to get into this on this show, but things like this are happening every day in our life right now. Like that's the thing. That's called media. Like big media. Big media is a big issue.
Corporate
right now,
media.
right? Like corporate media. Not getting into that right now, but there's a lot of things going on right now.
They just show
that
you
are
what they want to
literally being
show.
Swept under the rug. Right. They're you'll hear every news channel will show you everything when this happens, right? But meanwhile over here, right? So it's the old rope-a-dope. Hey guys, look over here. You don't see what's going on this side. You see, look at the big shiny can here. Just keep watching this. Hey, come on, everybody, dogpile this can.
Serial
We're not
killers
going to show you all this
serial
shit.
killers not the big thing anymore, so they're gonna go do.
And
then
while I'm sitting here like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
look
I mean,
look
this
at that
isn't even-
can.
Right.
That is
this
true.
isn't even nothing to do with serial killers, like political
No,
stuff.
I was using an
to-
example as like
but
what you say.
everything in life, and this is a great example of that, though. Like this is real life stuff, and this is going on more so now than ever, way worse than ever, because it's harder and harder to like hide things because everybody has a phone and everybody has access to fucking knowledge now.
Right. And
anyway,
with something like that too,
this is not that show, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
It went good. You did good. I went good with it.
So my point with the first thing I thought with that 9/11 thing is obviously that's not something that the killer, he obviously couldn't foresee that. There's no way he would have been that smart to know that, hey, we're gonna have this. No, but even then, if you really think about it, James, whatever his name is, James Foley, or I forget his name. He had to have been in trial for like over a year because that stuff takes a long time. That stuff takes a very long time. So,
but that's also where I was getting at with this, though. With earlier on, we see footage from the early '80s, and now we're talking about 9/11.
And that's nothing to it. A lot of serial killers, there is that big loophole, and then they come up out of nowhere. Sometimes they come back. The Golden State Killer did that.
Yeah, that's true. I think actually even in like Rhode Island, for instance, we had the Craigslist killer. That something like that happened too, where he like randomly.
That was Rhode Island,
wasn't it? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was Rhode Island.
Craigslist killer?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know
I didn't,
Craigslist.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
You just scared me. I was like,
knew about
oh
it.
god, no, it
I
definitely
might
is.
have been around. I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't know.
Shit.
I feel like. Are you sure you're not just confusing that with Craig Price? Because that's a way different thing, dude.
No, yeah, it's Rhode Island. I'm looking it up right now.
Shit.
The Craigslist killer was Rhode Island, not Craig Price, not the dude who killed
Accused,
people in the
yes,
80s.
dude, I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
Craigslist killer
I'm just making
faces
sure. I'm just making sure
charges
you're different,
in
'cause
Rhode
both of
Island.
them were here. Oh,
I never knew that.
Yep.
I didn't know that either.
I was hearing
Yep,
that.
alleged Craigslist killer charged with assault in
I was
Rhode
there,
Island,
not here.
and
I'm
it
from
was
Philly.
I was working a ton.
So it would happen. It would happen in between. I'm looking at it right now. It would happen in between Boston and Rhode Island. He would go between the two.
This is starting to sound familiar now. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
so
it was probably more Massachusetts then.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? Assholes don't care. We don't
yeah,
care.
but regardless, it still was something that
They're
happened
asshole neighbors to the
in
north.
Rhode Island. And
If you
talk
are
about
if
them.
you are one on Twitch right now, please stay with us. Do not leave.
We're only kidding. We love you, Boston. I'm a big fan. I go up there. I go to Massachusetts. Pretty much every concert in the world is in Massachusetts now because Rhode Island's music scene sucks. So I'm up there all the time. So if you are in Massachusetts and you go to frequent metal shows, you'll probably run into me. So come up and say what's up. Now that things are going to be opening back up, which we're going to do another time. And I don't want to date the show by saying too much right now. But anyways, yeah. So this is when we go into when we finally get to actually see him fake being a cop. The English lady that he picks up on the side of the road who has the car broken down. That was tough to watch, and that had my fucking heart racing because he did that in a really good way.
Probably one of the most intense, or one of them. But
he's clearly in a cop car with a cage, and you can see because the camera's facing the back seat, so you never see him. You just see the cage, and you see the back windshield, and you see slight hints of blue and red lights off the back of the windshield, but you don't ever actually see lights. And she gets in. Hey, come on, get in, hop in. And as soon as she got in, I looked at my wife and I was like, "Shit, cop cars don't have fucking handles on the inside." And like, I don't know if she thought that I was crazy because I knew that fact, but I know that fact. But they don't. They don't have door handles on the inside, so you can't fucking escape. So, well, some of them don't have door handles, and some of them just have door handles that don't work. They're not lashed up, but they have door handles on the outside. So like, I mean, hell, even if you ever seen Super Troopers, like that's a joke in Super Troopers where like one of the dudes gets in the back seat with that blonde cop from the other precinct, and like they fucking get in the back seat and they're like, "Oh shit, did you remember to have the keys, whatever?" And like they got locked in. But that's a real. I mean, it's a lot of it's kind of common knowledge. Or if you ever seen the back seat of a cop car. Anyways, not saying that I have. Maybe I have. Once or twice at a trade show. The English lady scene was nuts though because then he's like, when she says something about him being a cop, he goes, "Well, what made you believe that I was a cop?" I don't know. The fucking barricade in the middle of your car and the fact you have red and fucking blue
He's such
lights
an
off the
asshole.
back of your car. Like it was, dude. That might. I think that felt like the most real conversation in this entire movie, which is crazy to me. But that's the one that jumped out at me the most was that whole conversation with the English lady.
Yeah,
because he's like, that's such a piece of shit move. That's such a fucking like. I don't know. You don't know if he's dressed as one. We don't see him, right? And she never says, "Oh, you're dressed like a cop." She just says, "Oh, I kind of just assumed, because he's probably in a fucking cop car with lights. We know people that own cop cars that have lights and sirens, like, and they're just unmarked cop cars that you can buy at an auction. That's a real thing that you can do. So like, like." It's not that out of the realm of possibility.
And people have done that before, so have pulled shit like
Right.
this, like this guy just did in this movie.
But what's even crazier is again, this goes to this movie does a really good job with leaving something to the imagination. Like again, Victoria's Secret's always going to be hotter than fucking Playboy because you're leaving something to the imagination. I'm just being like it's a true thing. I mean, I know a lot of people. We've all seen titties, man. We've all seen boobies, but the idea of not knowing what's behind that, whatever you're looking at, like it fucks with you, or like not knowing what's behind that door. You don't really know, right? Like who knows what's gonna happen?
They play on a lot of real fears too with this guy with the cop car, the fake cop car, with how he's in the house, with how he's done, how he preys on children. Everything is like every form of fear of every human being, from parents to just
Until
everything.
you just said that, I didn't think, I didn't put all that
Plays on
together. But you're
everything.
right.
It plays
Yeah.
on every vulnerability. It plays on every part of
No,
that.
you're right.
Yeah.
No, that's a fucking
Oh,
great point, Joe. That's a
I ran
Run
out
out
of
of
coffee.
coffee. I'm surprised.
Sorry,
I'm surprised you don't have a Keurig machine right next to you. You know.
I should have
some
brewed a
water,
pot, but I don't want to be up too late.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, you never know. Sometimes your best writing will be done when you're in the midst of, narcolepsy. No, narcolepsy is when you sleep, right?
Insomnia.
Shit.
Insomnia.
Insomnia. Damn it.
Necromancy? What?
Necromancy? Whatever. Who cares? It's all the same thing. Yeah.
But yeah,
So
it plays off the each different fears of those vulnerabilities of
Yeah.
trust in your neighbor, in your police officer, in everything, you know.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that the actress was hot, so you hit the nail on the head more than what I ever could have said.
you're not wrong.
Still
I
hit
mean,
the nail
I'm
on her head.
I'm
Oh,
a sucker
true.
for a good English accent.
No,
Throwing it out there.
no, it's real talk.
Sucker for a good English accent.
This is I will straight out of the gate. I will just say it. This is easily my favorite part of the movie. Like easily,
Ben?
it
I
doesn't
was
even.
gonna say the same thing, and I'm almost ashamed to say it too. And I'll get that after you're done.
Doesn't come fucking close. This is the best part. This is the most tense I ever felt the entire movie.
You're talking about the English lady thing.
Yes, the entire thing.
Yeah, this is the most tense of the movie.
I never
Yeah,
felt
hands
so
down.
tense. The second he says,
Yeah.
"Well, what made you think I was an officer?" and then he that's like you said.
Yeah.
That's he's being so real. He just finally just lets go. I know I don't think you guys either of you saw it, but it reminded me of a scene from that movie, The House That Jack Built.
I haven't seen it yet.
He does the same.
Watch, man.
Yeah, but it's
It's a long
fucking
watch.
incredible.
A lot of it's good, but man, there's some. I
But
would like to talk about that movie. Actually.
Jack does the
That's a
same
weird one.
thing. Jack does the same thing to this woman and says, "I'm gonna kill you," and
Yeah.
she doesn't believe it. She's like, "Ha ha 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 ha." You're,
that's the best scene. In that
and
movie
he's
too.
like, "No, I'm going to fucking kill you." Yeah, but he's like, "Why are you laughing? Why are you sitting
Isn't
here?"
that Kevin Dillon.
Matt
Kevin
Dillon.
Dillon, right? Or is it Matt Dillon?
Matt Dillon
Okay,
from
yeah.
There's Something About Mary.
Great. Yeah,
Damn, Dillon
he
brothers.
was phenomenal. He was phenomenal in that movie.
Yeah,
And then-
he acts
that's
along
right,
with
that was
Fred Willard in 13 Ghosts.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say callback.
No,
Yeah, House of Jack Built was it's like 3 hours long. and the
that might be
ending-
one of my favorite horror movies to come out in the past decade.
I've been telling myself to watch.
everything
trying
up
to get my
until
shit
the
together.
ending.
It's
Everything up
it's
until
goofy. The ending's stupid.
I like.
The ending's no,
Yeah.
we won't spoil it.
No, we're not gonna
ending's
spoil
bad.
anything.
I'll say it. The ending's stupid.
The ending might it ruins.
It's a
it for me
curveball.
little bit.
it's a real curveball.
I would have
Alright,
to watch.
I
it
like
again, but
curveballs. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But no,
I would love to do that movie. That's a good one to do.
it's a very surreal thing because there's no way.
Yeah.
So like, if I was just sitting with Joe and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," and I'm like, "You're just kidding," and it's like, "No, like stop
Again.
laughing."
And that
Like,
plays her off that, and it plays her off that trust again. It's everything. It's all there.
yeah, it's like I'm not. This isn't a joke. I don't know why you're laughing. It's just
the more I think about that movie, that is a good one to talk. I don't know if I have another 3 hours to sit and watch that anytime soon, but that's one to keep on the chalkboard.
I will only say watch
the
the
locker, the big freezer or whatever like that.
nah,
whole
dude.
thing turns into
The hunting scene alone.
movie's not
The
good.
hunting scene is the best scene.
Oh my god!
I won't say anything
Fuck,
else.
I forgot about that,
Guys, if you're gonna watch The House That Jack Built, just wait for the hunting scene. That's all I'll say. You know what I'm talking
right.
about. Hunting scene is
That little fucker's right.
dude. That is the best fucking. That is the best scene of a
one of the
horror
best
movie
horror-
you will
yeah,
see
you're
in
right.
the past 20
forgot about
years.
that.
I promise you.
Ooh, challenge accepted.
20 years.
It's tough.
I don't know about 20. You youngsters
it's-
and
So
Nope.
where I
Nope.
there's so many more
horror
movies
for me, some of my favorite like seriously, I love like Wolf Cop, which I really want to do,
Mhm.
like cheesy, stupid horror movies, like gory, stupid. I just watched Ginger Snaps for the first time the other
Great
day.
movie.
What took you so long? The movie's so good.
Well, it was on Joe Bob. It was.
all right,
I
word.
love everything that's on there.
Love Ginger Snaps.
But so anyway, so like I love like cheesy schlocky bullshit, but like to me, like what gets me as a horror fan is anything that's suspense. That's why this scene works so well for me. And the scene Ben's talking about, god fucking
And
damn,
it's
dude.
and it's
Like I'm literally getting like.
it's not
sweaty
just the
thinking about
fact that
scene.
you have the suspense. It's also the
Oh.
fact that you have something that's so real because you have that suspense where I'm just gonna say one off the top of my head. You have Alien with Ripley, and you have that suspense of when a
That's why
xenomorph's gonna
Alien's
come out.
So scary.
Yeah, you have that whole suspense of where the fuck is this alien. But then you have something like Poughkeepsie tapes, and you have something like the house that Jack built. Dude, this could actually happen. This is something that could be real, just because of stranger danger, because you're just going up.
Wait, Wolf Cop couldn't happen? I mean, I don't know.
It could in like probably Europe or something, fucking somewhere.
Neither one of you guys have seen Wolf Cop, right?
Not
No.
yet. I've been wanting to.
No, I figured you were gonna challenge us, or not challenge us, but have it.
I will eventually.
That's why I
I'm gonna
won't
hold
watch
on
it
to
yet.
that because I've already thrown out a bunch of movies. So
That's why I will not watch it yet until I know for a fact you will throw the flag and say that's the episode. So I'll just wait.
How about when we get to him being a contortionist?
Oh well, that's so. Now that
Shortly
we're
after-
on, we talk about this. I would love. This is the scene from this movie. Like this is the one where like,
Which
I've seen stills of the scene.
Scrooge shared this, and I realized that was the same one until I watched it. I didn't catch on to that. It's just
that's the scene that got shared fucking everywhere. I saw that.
But you know, so I had seen clips of. This is the scene that I saw clips of in like whatever top 10 bullshit thing I heard about this movie with. And seeing it in person, it's still not. It's still worse. It's still harder to watch than what I thought.
It's that angle. You're on her face.
The fucking angle. It cuts to an angle of like she's like right here on the screen where my hand is, and like it's just her like mouth and like tape on her mouth, and she's clearly like.
And that weird plastic thing
behind her, and then like behind her, like the out of frame, you see like a doorway. Yeah, and then you just see like a fucking dude like spider walking with a fucking one of those hats on top of his head, or masks on top of his head. And I'm spoiler alert again. You gotta see the fucking scene.
Dude, we can't give it justice.
It's not the same
until
you see
the actual scene. Until you see the actual scene. No CGI, thank God. No bullshit fucking creepy dude walking around. No, like this is actually a dude walking like all weird, which is fucking great. And then like all of a sudden when he gets up behind her, he like stands, again, person here. Yeah, he's got like two masks. He's got the fucking plague doctor mask.
And you don't realize it until because he had it on when he was upside down. You see the beak, but you don't realize it until he comes up. You're like, oh my god.
And then the fucking the fucking two fingers with the needles. I thought that they were like something different. I thought something different was gonna happen with that scene.
That was a horrible way to die.
What the fuck, man?
It was two separate ways of like choking on your own blood with the instrument and the plastic over her face. That was just like, and me as a horror fan, I was like, wow, this is so well done. I'm loving it, but also as like a human being, and also still in that mode.
But it's hard to watch.
Is this real or not?
Again,
and it was well done. Like, oh, okay, I need a shower. That's how bad that scene was.
I felt a little unclean.
Yeah.
After this one, a shower was I could have used a power washer on my fucking.
They have you watch the right amount of seconds. It's not a long scene, but it's long enough for you to watch what happens to her. You know,
they let you set in. Yeah,
they fucking keep you. They don't change anything about it. That whole scene, I think, is about 1:30. But it stays with you. That one scene, it is terrifying. It is gruesome in its own way. You don't even see much. That's like probably the bloodiest thing you see in the whole movie. And like you see like a little fucking blood pack just burst in her mouth. That's it. But just that quick little thing, she dies, but it stays, dude. That fucking scene is so terrifying. You hear every little sound because the movie is so silent. You hear so much more with like him walking and like her fucking gasps for like of sheer terror. Oh boy, that will go down. That's another one I will say that'll go down as one of the fucking scariest scenes in a long time, man.
It's almost cliche at this point because we've seen things spider walk like that. We've seen weird masks and faces, and stuff, but like that one because it felt so real. And like the needles really looked like they went in that girl's neck, and like it just It was a
And
tough one. That was a
it's
good one.
from playing off of all that true crime and snuff and the arrangement makes it feel so real
Mhm.
that's why, like you said,
Right.
that's why it hits. We've seen this before, but the way it's done and the way it's narrated, and then it's just
I like hearing the perspective of somebody who watches a lot of true crime stuff like you have. Like I've seen like a good amount. Like I've seen like, you know, the Making a Murderer and like and all of that stuff, like the really popular ones on Netflix. But I'd love to hear it, it's weird, but Ed will, I think, will agree with me. I'd love to see what our mom thinks about it, because she's a gigantic true crime fan. She fucking worships anything on that whole network. So I think that like mockumentary, I think she would really have a weird take on it, actually, and it's cool hearing your perspective on it, on what you have to say about it, because I'm watching it as a horror movie. I'm watching it as a sitting down. And by the way, I watched this last night at midnight. I started it at midnight, pitch black.
This afternoon I was not doing that.
I watched it pitch black. I'm sitting in bed. I'll be real. It terrified. I
Holding
fucking
your kittens.
yes I was. Kitty was right next to me the whole
Little
time.
blankie like this.
Oh yeah, and I had it all. I had it all cover up my head.
Kitty.
No, and Kitty.
I'm frightened.
No, I felt on edge the whole time. It wasn't right. The second I had my closet door, but this is real. I had my closet door open, and the second that scene with him in the closet, I would be like, all right, hold on, I gotta go shut this really quick. I'll be right back.
Nope. I already knew what that movie would do to me late at night, and I was like, I'm not going back being 12 again.
And don't worry,
watched
I
it-
still
I think
slept.
I started watching it around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Like the
That's
sun
not
was
too
just about
bad.
going down. And then, well, I wanted to get it out of the way early, and I had a long day. I
Damn,
was
the
out in the
dreaded
sun all day
sundown.
long, and fucking, I was pooped, and I knew I wasn't gonna have time to do it today, so I kind of had no other choice. Yeah. So I mean, this is pretty much the end of the movie. So we'll kind of wrap up with like the ending scene here, which is the Cheryl interview where he like essentially they find the house, they find where he lives, where he lets them find where he lives, and they think they're gonna raid it. It kind of looks like that scene in Silence of the Lambs where they think they finally capture Buffalo Bill, and then they don't really capture him, and then fucking they find like the coffin in the middle of the living room, or whatever, or dining room, whatever it was, and they open it up, and it's Cheryl, in the
In
fucking
that doll
coffin.
outfit.
And then you realize, then it kind of cuts to, you realize why even more so, because you don't really get. I mean, you think in your head, oh, he's putting this outfit on her and a mask on her to like fuck with her psychologically. You don't think about it like, oh, he's doing that so she can't see her own damage being done to her face, because you don't realize what he's been doing. Because again, they don't show that much of it, because they go between like clips with Cheryl, and then they'll go to clips of like him fucking with other people. They don't show you everything that happens.
They'll
to
show
that girl.
Cheryl tape 2 and then Cheryl tape 60, but they won't show 100.
Right, exactly. So you don't really know what's gonna happen. So then when she's sitting there, her teeth are all fucked up. She's missing a bunch in the back. Her fucking face is all scarred and bruised up. She's like thinning in her hair. She is like clearly in shock. She's skipping, man. That was the reveal of the hand thing was fucking weird. All of a sudden she's like, they're interviewing her to try to get her to talk about what happened.
Oh, and she does this.
Like, I don't know what you want me to say. And they're like, well, just, say how you feel, talk about what but she's so fucking warped. She literally doesn't know what to say without being told what to say. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome, right? Like
It's exactly Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, what I was getting to to lead it into that is, if you've ever seen Shawshank Redemption, when Red gets out of prison and has to ask to go pee when he's working at the grocery store. He's been in prison so long that he has to ask if he can go to the bathroom. And the guy's like, the manager's like, you don't need to fucking ask me to go pee. Just go pee. Like, go take a piss.
You're conditioned in so one way. Then we get to some kind of normalcy or something different than that,
Yeah, and it's fucking messed up. And then like when she finally you can tell she's so nervous. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they kind of get her to talk a little bit. And also she itches her fucking head with her goddamn nub. And you're like, all right. When the fuck did that happen? Like, again, you don't see him cut her hand off that I remember.
Nope.
And
nope.
He just, but like he slowly tortured her that much that's just what ends up happening. And then let's see, then it shows.
Well, maybe maybe he didn't cut her hand off, because I don't know if I think she had her hand when they found her. She could have lost it because of an infection.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's I forgot that's what could have been.
I didn't even think of that could have happened. I mean, it's either way. The fucking poor girl was so messed up.
Yeah.
It's tough to look at either way. And then, so here's the thing with something like that. Before I get into the rest, is like, if you think about that realistically, because things like that, there are cases. I mean, there was only a couple years ago the guy had 3 women tied up in his fucking basement,
Mm-hmm.
and he would like rape them and then like get them pregnant and punch them in the
Attic.
stomach to
It was the
fucking.
attic.
No, it's a basement. There was one in
It was a
Ohio
basement?
with a basement. There was 3 women in a basement.
What the fuck?
Oh,
I have not heard of that.
I didn't know that one. Okay, so I knew the
There's
attic.
3
Not the
women in a
basement.
basement.
Holy
He
crap!
he kept them chained up to the basement. He would like rape them, and then fucking like when they would become, he would do it so often that they would each one of them would get like knocked up. He would fucking
Mhm.
like beat him up with like to like miscarry him. And they were in it like they were, I think, 3 sisters, or like they were related or something, or like all
Mhm.
from the same neighborhood. But then when they were found, it had been like over 10 years. Like they were locked up in this dude's fucking
Oh, that's
basement
the
for
same
10
thing.
years.
I must be mixing two up. But I heard that. I know that one too.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it was a basement. It was definitely Ohio. I just don't remember where in Ohio,
Yeah.
but either way, that was only a couple years ago. So like this shit still happens, dude. Like it just depends on like where you go in the fucking world. Like we are so blind to the middle of this country being on the coast. So if you're on the west coast or the east coast, we think we know everything because we get all this news and we get all this exposure and everything happens. There's always a constant buzz
Mhm.
because we're near so many major cities. You're near Phil. Well, you're in Philadelphia. We're right next to fucking Boston. We're not too far away from New York. We're in Providence. So we have a lot of major cities on the East Coast. Same with the West Coast. You have California. You have fucking Portland. You have all these major cities, and then in the middle of the country, it's so vast. We have
Mhm.
no idea, and we don't hear any of the fucking news that comes out of the middle of the country. When's the last time you heard a breaking news story from a fucking South Dakota? Oh, you haven't, because the population is
You
less
have to
than
Google
one
it.
major city.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll know
But
their own
like,
local news. We're not going to know what the hell's going on over there.
but the point is like this shit happens still to this day,
Mm.
and like even with technology being where it is, we don't know, like, because
Mhm.
we only know what we're told and what flashes across the fucking screen on the little ticker and what they'll let us know. Like even with like things like mass shootings, you only hear about certain ones. You don't hear about all of them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And even then, there aren't as many as what there used to be. That's the even crazier part. You just hear about them now, where before you wouldn't have heard about them, because it would have happened in a small little town in Ohio.
Right.
So you wouldn't have heard about it. So now, because the news is so fucking easily spread, we hear about all this stuff. So we think that we're in tough times, but realistically, statistically, we're in the safest time that humans have really ever been alive, because we have a camera on every fucking door. We have actually, I've finally gotten to really witness the Ring camera thing. Think about like
Mm.
Ring cameras. You don't realize
Yeah,
what
we got
neighbors
one.
have and what. Yes, but like, so think about that for a second. So you have one, right? So that's awesome that you have one. And this is what blows my mind. This is really quick because it's kind of has to do with why you don't hear about things like this anymore, because of things like the Ring. So our friend Ray, my buddy Ray,
Mhm.
sends my other pod. He's a guy on my other podcast, Uncle Dobby is what you'll know him as on that. Sends that chat group of video footage the other day. Says, check this out. My sister's car at 4 a.m. This is Friday going into Saturday. No, sorry, Thursday going into Friday. So he works until 10:30 or whatever. He gets home, sleeps for a couple hours, works from like 2 to 10 again. So he's sleeping. He'd only been asleep for a couple hours. So in the middle of the night, he hears a bunch of ruckus going on upstairs, and he hears a bunch of people he lives with his family. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" He lives on a dead end up at the top of a hill. Somebody drunk went up the wrong side of the hill, which there's an island in the middle of the hill. So like you have to go up the wrong side, like a fucking dumbass. The Ring camera caught the whole thing. Somebody head on,
Mhm.
drunk, plowed his fucking totaled his sister's car at 4 o'clock in the morning. Fucking dude ended up getting a DUI and getting taken away. But like the Ring footage is perfect. You hear everything, you see everything. So he's like, this is fucking nuts. How good this footage is. Like this guy would never have been able to get away. We would have caught him. And then I was like, yeah, but now like that's amazing. And then my brain went, yeah, but like now also realize that your neighbors are watching you every time you come home late doing anything. And he's like, oh fuck yeah, I didn't think about that. And I'm like, I'm not saying he's coming home doing anything weird, but like
Yeah.
you could be outside, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's weird. There's security, and then there's also a creepiness about today's
Yeah.
technology, like.
Yeah. It's
But
always. I mean, here's the thing. It's we're safer now. We're not. I think about the fact there's so much stuff we don't know about, and I think that I think even if you have the perfect life and you do live a carefree life, you're still at risk of something, no matter what. I
Dude,
think
I could walk out my
I think
front door tomorrow and get hit by a car. You're
anything
at risk
anything can
every day
happen.
you breathe.
Anything. So like, and then we think about these. You think about this type of movie and then those little vulnerabilities
It's
and
real.
those
And that
things,
fucks with your head. Yeah.
and you think about the networking I would just talk about and all that research on that. Yeah, it's pretty freaky. It's pretty scary. You know, and the things that go under the radar. So I don't know. Are we safe? We're not. Yeah, well, I wish I had
I'm
more
safe.
coffee. I wish we had more coffee.
I have a baseball bat and a dog, and I'm good.
There you go.
And 2 fully loaded guns. Wicked bad joke, I know.
I know
But-
it's like the worst meathead joke ever, but it still works every time.
It's true. It's true. I mean, yeah, we'll get into it. So then, so anyways, back to the final scene here. It says, shows that it all of a sudden, from the head scratching scene with the nub,
Mm-hmm.
it shows that she took her own life, saying she loved the master, which, so even though she was put through all this stuff, she still in her brain has an undying love for this guy who tortured her for fucking however long, 10 years, 20 years, however, we don't really know. Then all of a sudden, forecast to the beginning of the movie, we see that in fact the grave being robbed was Cheryl's, because now they kind of flash back to that and show that. And I think that's the end of the movie. I think it kind of ends there.
Yeah.
But they never show whether they ever catch the guy. They never catch the guy. They don't know who does it. They never fucking find out who this guy is, which is even scarier, right? We don't really know the timeline on how long he did this. They did bring up one thing in there, that there was 3 tapes that
7
he
or
strategically kept.
yeah.
7, yeah.
And they
That's right.
they figure that
We never
either
went over that.
either A, it's something really fucked up that they want to wait, that the killer would want to wait to show, or like maybe he accidentally has his face shown or give something away
Yeah.
to be able to find him.
Which is interesting because you guys catch after the credits.
I didn't watch after the credits.
No.
I after the credits,
I
it
was
just
done.
showed another person, as an older woman, tied to a pole and mouth gagged, and then I forgot what he was saying to her. He was saying something like, "Oh, yeah," he's telling her, "Don't blink," and then it was like 10 seconds of that, and then it ended. So that could be one of the tapes.
Oh,
Who
I didn't see
knows?
that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. So maybe they were setting up for a sequel.
The credits,
tapes, the lost tapes.
yeah, right. And then the credits are interesting because that's what made me even want to do more research, because this credits were set up like they were thanking the families and all that
That
stuff.
I thought was cool
And
too. Yeah, I got to that.
I'm like,
They
this
didn't.
is so fucked up. What the hell?
It was smart. It was a good choice. It was showing
And
it like it was like a documentary.
Capitalizing off it.
Yeah, that was a clever way to do it.
Yep.
That was I just was burnt out by this point. Like I didn't, even though I knew this movie was supposed to be fucked up, I didn't think it was gonna bother me, because like you just like what I was talking about with Paranormal Activity earlier, you just kind of overlook things. You're like, oh yeah, whatever, it's gonna get me. But like it fucking had me. Plus I had my wife next to me and stuff, so like that does play a factor in it too, because she's like going, and then it's like there's awkward scenes, and you're like, then like my daughter came out and sat with, my daughter's 20, but like influences horror movies. But I was like, Rosie, come out and check this horror movie out. And like I don't remember what scene it was early on. Like something happened, and I was like, maybe you shouldn't come and watch this movie with me right now. And she like bailed. She's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, watch it on your own. Like definitely check it out, but like it's just gonna be awkward for me to sit here and watch this with you. Like I just couldn't do it. But yeah, then so I mean the movie, it's a fast watch. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long, I think. It's if that, right?
Yeah.
Including the end credits. And for a movie that came out in 2009, with what they accomplished, I was impressed with it. I was impressed with how the footage looked real enough, and I didn't realize. So they must have been shooting this 2006, 2007, somewhere in that range. So the camera quality back then looks like real to me, because nowadays HD cameras look too real. I liked how they left certain things to the imagination, which I've already kind of beat to death as far as that goes. But they would still show enough to like keep you unsettled. The acting, in between wasn't great. There were a couple like some of the fucking scenes where like the master was talking like in silly voices and stuff, was that kind of like off-putting, but like you get it at the same time, because you're like, I don't know how like a crazy guy talks however he wants. You don't know if he'd be yelling like we were talking about earlier, if you would have a silly English accent. Like you don't know. Like so when you kind of put yourself into that perspective, it's pretty good. The acting didn't need to be good though in this. The scenes and the way they strung you along, the pacing and the, again, back to the cinematography and the sound design, and the way they shot this movie was. Not every movie needs to be a fucking Academy Award winning acting performance. It just needs to be believable, and like this was believable, you know. So, as far as what I thought about the movie, I'll give my final score in a minute. But that was essentially my final synopsis, and then I'll let you guys kind of give yours because. Go ahead, Joe.
I'll make mine quick. I'll go with you on that with everything. The cinematography and the acting is good enough for what it needed to be. The pace was great, and it's that way you don't get bored with it. Because sometimes found footage movies can really drag, or they can have that little slow point. But of course, this wasn't your typical found footage. It's what I said earlier. It's that mixture of like that true crime found footage point of view of the killer, and then kind of a snuff film, even though it wasn't a snuff film. It had all these different elements of everything from like this it had a whole bunch of subgenres into one, which I think you guys said that earlier, and it worked. It worked that way. It told a story it needed to tell. It's even though it's fictionalized, I think it's still something terrifying about how close to the truth it can be. And I think that's and the ending worked. You know, it shows how the victims can be affected by this. So yeah, it was very well done. I was actually pleased with it.
Which is I feel to say,
yeah,
right? It's hard. You don't. It feels dirty to say that you're. Like, I feel the same way.
Thank you. I didn't feel like that earlier when I was watching it until I did more research. I felt a little better about how it's not too. It's how fictionalized it is.
When you're a horror fan, so being a fan of something that like the idea is you want to be unsettled, right? Like that's the whole point of these movies.
We embrace the darkness. This is how it is with our genres, you know.
Very correct. Yes. Very.
So
correct.
It seems like
Ben,
you
go ahead.
search for darkness too.
Great.
Nice little movie plug.
Great job catching up, Ben.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Dickhead. Oh, stare at Ben. Make him feel uncomfortable.
Good. That's my
Ben,
secret.
That's
my secret cap.
Give a little synopsis.
I'm always uncomfortable.
And then we'll we'll give our final scores once Ben gives his synopsis.
What do we give it? One out of 10 tapes?
I haven't thrown it out there yet.
Tapes.
Or so.
Actually, that is what I put out of the first 10 Poughkeepsie tapes. I'd give this so yeah, we're gonna be going off of a 10 Poughkeepsie. We're gonna go off of 10 Poughkeepsie tapes.
All right. Anyway,
what's your synopsis? And then
so,
score, and then me and
this movie for me, just because this is this actually goes off of what I really like. Besides, brain dead shit and like Nightmare on Elm Street, like all that. I like that like violent, like stupid gore.
Brain Dead's a good fucking movie.
I just watched that the other day. Still love it. But no, I like that's the stuff that I really like the spouting fucking constant blood, where this is the total opposite of that. And I feel like it's done so well, and it's done in such a good outlet with the mockumentary style. Oh, and Ed got so scared he left. He got so you broke it again. I feel like this is a reoccurring theme, everybody. So now it's off the rails. You can I'm here. I'll do this just so I'm still in frame. The movie does a really good job taking itself seriously, and a movie like this had to be taken seriously to really get the point across that it is a terrifying movie. Terrifying the fact that yes, stuff like this can actually happen, and that was the real reason why it's so scary. Is it's real? Like this can actually happen. It's based off of a true story. This is in terms of what the story is and the scale.
Multiple true stories.
That's true. Yeah, because it's based off like Ted Bundy and a lot of it's like an amalgamation of serial killers, but it's a good one.
Area. Yep.
And like Ed and you said, I felt so gross loving this movie, but I love it. Yeah. Like that last scene that we talked about, like the big one for me was the police, the officer scene, and like that right there solidified how much I really actually like this movie. Like sure, there's some stuff that's just like it makes you a little uneasy to watch, but you can't find that in horror movies that much anymore. that like makes you feel uneasy. Like Hereditary had that where it makes you feel uneasy.
Yeah,
Listen,
a lot of the A24 movies are starting to, because like Midsummer had some scenes like
Midsummer
that.
just made me just want to
Hereditary.
turn off the movie. It was that
You're
uneasy.
fucking crazy.
I just wanted to
love
turn it
Midsummer.
off.
I can't.
I was so-
I still haven't
wait.
seen it. I still haven't seen it yet. So
I'm so bored.
I can't wait. I would love to have that.
we will
Just turn it off.
I'm
It's
like
2.5 hours. That's why I'm
salivating.
waiting. I'm waiting for.
Same thing with The Witch. A lot of people were like, "Oh, The Witch is nigga." The Witch is
I
fucking.
think-
All right, The Witch is
amazing.
good though. Witch is really
The
good.
Lighthouse.
I think how
Lighthouse,
people.
perfect.
Yeah.
10 out of
Wait.
10.
It's how people get freaked out is subjective to some degree. Like some movies that they feel extremely freaked out. Some people don't get freaked out. It's like the same way. I have a lot of the movies I can tell you that I know have that same feeling. You probably haven't seen them, so. But I can't tell you now off the top of my head because I'm getting old.
No, it's okay. But yeah,
I
no,
have
like
the same thing. I
that.
have the same problem.
That's my thing. Is it like we need that type of like suspense, that like that guttural feeling of just uncomfortability.
They're all out there.
And this movie does such a good job nailing every emotion that you should feel during a horror movie, during a thriller, fucking whatever the hell you want to call it. I love it, but that's just me. I thought I was going into it thinking, man, I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, it's fine, but no, I love it. I loved every second of it, actually, except there are some goofy parts where he does like the goofy accents, but I guess that goes into line of like he's just crazy, and he did it kind of probably also just to fuck with the cops and the feds too at the same time. So
Right.
we could chalk it up as that too. So, but anyway,
Right. All right.
so Ed, what is your verdict on it, friend?
Did you give your final score?
No, do you want me
guys for
to?
a second. No, I'll go first if you guys want. So, I'm gonna be honest. What I originally wrote down has been changed as we were talking about the movie. So my opinion about the movie, my initial score, is actually pretty high, but it's gonna change once we started talking about all these scenes. Certain things kind of like we're like flashing back. So I'm glad that we do the scene by scene breakdown kind of thing, because even if we only get an opportunity to watch it once, I'd like to watch movies at least twice, but if you only can watch it once because of time frame, the scene by scene thing could change way whether I love or hate something realistically, because you might, you guys might point out something that like I didn't even think about. So originally out of the first 10, I'm specifically saying the first 10 Poughkeepsie tapes, because we don't really know how many there are. I know I saw numbers of 2,000 something. So the first 10 Poughkeepsie tapes, I'm gonna originally was a solid 7, which is good. But the more I think about it, and honestly, just that cop scene alone, I'm gonna bring it up to an 8.5. So 8.5 Poughkeepsie tapes. So in other words, you're gonna have to play the first 7 or 8 tapes, and then when you put in a 9th one, it's gonna split in half, unfortunately. So, but you're gonna get 8.5 of them, and that's really all that matters. So 8.5
Brings back the old VCR days.
Yes, sir. You're gonna get through about half of the 9th one, and then go, nah, I don't think I have the stomach for this. But that's my take. So 8.5 out of the first 10 pick. And it changed. I have it. I can show you guys that I have it written down to be. One last thing I'll say is it's very hard to watch in some contexts, but not as bad as what I was expecting, to be totally honest with you. I don't think I'll be watching it again anytime soon, and that's another reason why I didn't try to get a second viewing in, because I don't need to see a lot of this again. There was, it's one of those ones like it's a one and done. You respect it for what it is. Like, there's a lot of. I'm trying to think of another good one that I saw recently, like
Hereditary.
No, Hereditary. I've watched.
No, Midsummer. Fuck, I meant to say Midsummer.
Midsummer I've only seen once, and I loved it.
I'll never watch it again.
I'm talking. Oh, you know what I watched the other day? Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Fucking phenomenal. That movie's great. If you've never seen it, go check that out. But go ahead, man. I'll just.
So this one's tough for me. I just said I love it, and I praised it, but I don't want to sit here and
I feel dirty saying that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Nah,
as a horror fan, it's a good watch. It's just so fucking.
There's
tougher watches though.
All right, so I think I almost I'm so close to giving it like a 9.5, but I feel like there's no way that I could sit here and do that when in fucking 13 Ghosts I gave it like a 2 or something. So
yeah, I think you brought up to a 5 out of 13. Right?
That's true. Oh, that's right. I gotta think about the average. When I first wrote it down, I actually gave it a 2 out of 10. for 13 Ghosts. I hated it. Anyway.
We did 13 Ghosts.
Oh,
So
true. I guess I should eat
Thor
ass
was a
then.
13. Yeah, you should
Oh,
definitely eat ass.
right. Anyway, no. So I'm gonna just give it a solid 9. Just a solid 9. I'm gonna whole number. I love
Higher
it.
than I thought. I'm actually
Loved it.
surprised, yeah.
Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I will never watch it again, but I love it. Maybe to fuck with people, I'll throw it on.
Oh man.
Yeah. I would watch this with people that had never seen it before and like watch them react to it. So like I'd watch it for that, but I wouldn't go off on my own one.
No.
Like I can sit and watch fucking Nightmare on Elm Street any day of the week by myself and not have a problem, or Return of the Living Dead, or like any of the cult classic movies. But something like this, like I'll watch this once and I'm good. I don't need to see it again.
So I'm going to just everything you guys said. I'm with you on, because you just like it was a great film, but you feel kind of gross saying it's a great film because of how effective it was.
It doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right, and that's why I was going to give it an 8. But then something told me to say 9 because of just talking about how well it is. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna stay with a 9 tapes out of 10 because of how well it was, how different it was, how this director blended all his genres, how well he did the research, and he was able to play off that. And it's not in the news, but I'm pretty sure that's what got him in trouble. Who knows? That's why it took 10 years, and I applaud that when that stuff happens. So there's a part of me does want to. There's a part of me does want to rewatch again, but not a complete pure pleasure of being a horror fan. Out of the fact that probably research, or I'm in the mood for some form of like fascination, true crime.
I
because
feel
of
like
that
there's stuff I missed.
Network, yeah, that too. There's stuff. I think because there's stuff because you focus on one thing because it happens so fast, and your brain's like, should I be liking this? Because there's a lot of things that play on your head. In this movie,
a lot of dirty feeling.
And I'll probably rewatch it a lot sooner than I think. I have a feeling. So, but that's where I stand at. That's where I stand. 9 tapes out of 10.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Wow, actually,
the higher rating.
That was a high rated one. That's weird.
We gotta find one I hate.
Well, we'll be waiting a while.
Well, no, I mean you clearly you didn't love. No, you didn't love.
Amityville Horror.
I didn't give it a pure rating, but I just said the remake was better.
That's true.
Yeah, with that one we didn't give a regular rating. That wasn't one of those shows where we give a straight up rating. But this was surprising for me. Like it truly was, and I think honestly, originally when I saw how quick the movie was, I'm like, we're gonna be talking for an hour. We've been talking for 2 hours about this movie, so I'm not surprised. Realistically, because I think we all got into the psyche of it all. I think there was a lot more in depth, and then we went off on some tangents, which I actually thought were pretty fun. So I'm glad that we found the way we're going to run these shows, and that we found the forum in which we're going to kind of like keep the engine moving, and we're okay with having a side railed conversation once in a while that the movie can spark a good discussion.
Yeah, because it's everything we said was related to the movie, and we were able to circle stuff around.
Yes, the day we find a movie where we're like, yeah, then this scene happened, and then this scene happened, and then this scene happened. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a 4. Like, that's gonna suck. Like, because it's gonna happen eventually. We're gonna find a movie where we're all like, this fucking, I'm bummed.
No, I doubt with our personalities. I doubt.
No, I will always be able to say something about unless it's Midsummer, then I'll just fall asleep when I'm watching it.
Oh, you're so crazy, dude. You're so crazy. I'm gonna take a bunch of
Cillian Murphy's.
I'm gonna take a bunch of psilocybin and rewatch fucking Midsummer because that's what they take in the movie, and just enjoy that movie that much more.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take a bunch of fucking ZQL and just watch it too. Does the same effect on me.
Wow.
Sorry.
Man, I love it. We couldn't be more polar opposite in that movie. I love it. I love that.
And so like in that same year, A24 made fucking Midsummer, and then the masterpiece known as The Lighthouse. How the fuck did they manage that?
They were like
subjective, buddy. Subjective.
Are you saying that? Are you saying Lighthouse is not a masterpiece?
A lot of people. No. What I'm saying.
I don't think it's a masterpiece, but still, it's in the top. It's one of my. I enjoy it.
A lot of people would say different though. A lot of people love Midsummer and don't understand Lighthouse.
Yeah,
I like Lighthouse for what it is.
Midsummer's right down the split middle. Both Lighthouse and Midsummer are right down the middle for a lot of people.
But then there's Hereditary, which is absolutely incredible.
Well, The Witch is like that.
See, I don't think Hereditary is incredible. I like it.
I love it.
I don't think it's incredible.
I didn't really care for it. I didn't care for it the first time I saw it in theaters. It was just my mom and myself. But I watched it the second time. actually blew my mind the second time. So maybe I just have
When
to
you
do that
get
with
into,
Midsummer. I don't know.
That's one of those movies when you get into the lower half of it and like you really dive into what they're talking about.
Hmm.
And when you watch it a second time, you
That's what I
see
want to do.
all the. Oh, you've only
Yeah.
seen it once?
Only once.
Oh, dude, when you rewatch Hereditary the second time,
Hmm.
you're gonna start looking and you'll see things in every
Yeah,
single
that
scene.
it's like all
The first
related
time
to
you
like
watch it,
the
you don't.
Demon King and shit.
Yeah, you
Right.
don't see it
It's
the first
crazy.
time because you're focused on the movie.
Hmm.
When you watch it a second time,
Yeah.
you see things like in the shadows or in literally like the corner of the room, or you'll
Yep.
see
Hmm.
something like right here that you didn't see
Oh,
before.
dude,
Like
Midsummer's the
it,
same way.
dude.
Or so I've heard, but
No, Midsummer.
I guess I
I
should
haven't
watch
seen
it
it the second
again.
time yet, but I saw it a ton the first time, and I fucking loved every second of it. So,
There's only one scene that I was
because
like, man, that's a really good scene, and then
well,
everything else
Ari
is
Aster
boring.
made both of those two. Ari
Yeah.
Aster made both Midsummer and Hereditary,
Right.
and both. You know, he's got his thing. I can't remember this. I don't remember the fucking dude's name. I'm mad at myself right now because I can't remember his name. But the guy who made Lighthouse and The Witch are the same guy, and he's making Eggers. No, Egerton. Egerton. Robert Egerton. Is that what his name is? Robert Eggers.
We're talking the Lighthouse right now. Robert
Yeah,
Eggers.
Egerton, right?
No, Eggers.
Yeah, just Eggers. Okay, so I remembered at least
He's only. Oh
for
my
the most
god.
part.
Yeah,
Young
he's
guy, but
making the Northman
That's the next one.
thanks for stealing my thunder, Ben. I
with
was just gonna say that.
with the homie Alex Skarsgård from Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah,
And True Blood.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've never seen True Blood. I've heard good
Never
things
watched
though.
It's
True
fun.
Blood.
I
It's
have.
good.
Oh, and Nicole
Kate, I'll
Kidman.
watch it.
There we
Yeah, it's
go.
got a big cast.
Oh wow.
I think Willem Dafoe's in that also. I could be wrong.
Hmm.
And I also think
Willem Dafoe
he
is
brought
in
back
it.
and I also think he got the girl Anna Taylor-Joy. No,
Yes. Yep. No, you're right. Anya
yeah,
Taylor-Joy. Ethan
yeah,
Hawke.
she's from The Witch. She's the main character in The Witch, the girl. And she's also in that movie, the thing on Netflix about the chick.
Oh, fucking Bjork's in it too. That's so weird.
Well, she's from Finland. That makes
No,
sense.
I know.
But I mean, that's a cool casting. 'cause
Excuse me,
a
she's from
fucking
Iceland,
whack job.
idiot.
Still a whack job.
No, I know.
Bjork is a fucking Looney Tune.
She's a fucking fuck. I was actually just about to say she's a Looney Tune.
None of this matters right now.
Whatever.
So
Anyway,
we're talking about stuff that doesn't matter. We're eating up clock on a good episode here. So hey, this was episode 5. We kept on saying that this was going to be the episode where we're going to start posting it in our own thing. So we wanted to wait till we had like a backlog set. So go and check them out. Go check out the old ones out from the first one to this one. And I'll be honest, right now my brain isn't working so good. So what did we do first? We did Pet Cemetery 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then we did
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Then we
Mhm.
did
Yep.
the
Amityville Horror
Amityville original versus
remake.
Then
then
last week we did
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. Thank you. And then this week we did
Poughkeepsie tapes.
this
What a fucking lineup.
masterpiece, Poughkeepsie Tapes.
What a goddamn
It's an
lineup.
interesting lineup. All over the map as far as like era goes. So
Aragorn.
not sure what we're gonna do next. We'll maybe come up with an idea or two here. But so go back and check those other ones out. Tell us what you think. Give us follow us, comment, like us, whatever. We'll follow you back on Instagram. We're gonna have a let's do a couple quick plugs just so we get that out of the way, and then let's maybe have a little. I like the live powwows on what we should do next because it holds us to it. So
I got an idea,
have that in a
but
I would no. It's. I mean, we're not going in turns, but technically, like you're the main focal point in this one. Then we kind of figured out together. So, as far as plugs go, go check out Bonded by Horror on Instagram. I'm the one who runs that. But I show these guys everything for the most part that I can. I got to get better. The past couple weeks have been kind of crazy for me, so unfortunately, I haven't had time to do as many video clips as I would really want to. We have a backlog of them that we've had ideas for, and we'll have more now. Seems like Ben figured out how to do that too because you put up a good one. I need that one for the show's page, so I'd like you to send me that. But follow us on there, interact with us. The boys here see everything that I see. We're an open book here. We're a fucking family, and literally and figuratively. And we're just doing this to have some fun, man. So we really are. We talked about this last episode that we really are trying to create a community. Thursdays, as of right now, Thursday nights seem to be the best night for us to be able to get these done for a while. And again, they're going to fluctuate as far as when we do the live streams. That's going to change. It's going to kind of ride whenever we have time. Thursday's a good night. Thursday night is a good night for us to do this, and it feels it's easier for all of us, it seems. And then a lot of people, they're around. You're not doing much. It's not the weekend yet. You have a little bit of time to kill. So thank you very much for enjoying these past two shows with us. And hopefully you'll be with. We haven't picked another date. If we're able to do it next Thursday, I'm down. If we have to push it back, then we'll push it back. But
Yeah, and honestly,
we'll figure that out.
it works. Yeah, stuff like that we can always just figure out. So in terms of like when the next show will be, honestly, we can't say it now because we just don't know. Just follow the Instagram, dude. Honestly, any of us three, or I always say just as a focal point, just go to the Bonded by Horror one. I will keep plugging that one. That's the one that I like. That's
where the news is
of the show of this show. Obviously, follow all three of us. But for the news of the show and for clips and all that stuff,
follow that one. Yeah,
follow that one.
That's the hub of where you're gonna find out what we're doing.
Yep.
And we're already building a pretty cool community there. Like I'm already getting some really good interactions with people, and our numbers are growing already, which is considering the fact that we just kind of started off slow, and this has been a brainchild of me and Joe's for a while, and finally got it going. I knew once we got it going, it was just going to be something that we were just going to keep on doing because it's such an easy thing for us to do. I love horror movies anyways, and I love talking to these two guys, so it's phenomenal for both. But go check out Bonded by Horror on Instagram. I'm Eddie_Vegas on Instagram. So if you want to look me up there, I just started wrestling again. So you might see some clips of me wrestling soon. I do a lot of gym stuff, workout stuff. So, like check that stuff out if you have any feedback. If you ever, want to interact about that kind of stuff, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And I'm also one of, not only am I a co-host for this show, but I'm also a co-host for a podcast called Three Dudes and Cold Brews Podcast. If you're if you're interested in the metal music and just random topics in general, that's a good place for it. It's wild. Again, not this show. This is horror movie, very specific. Three guys, people talking about a passion that we have. Similar as far as we all love metal, but those shows are like free-form shows. Like we play music, so you can find some new music, but we also talk about like shows that we go to see and we review the shows. We've done movie commentaries, we've done show reviews, we've done a lot of when we say three dudes and cold brews, we literally mean it. Like we are literally sitting there 90% of the time, sucking back a couple, whether it's whiskey or beer or whatever else we do. We are big on whiskey in that show, but so they go off the rails and they're long. So take them as you come. As you might want to go back in the catalog first, to be totally honest with you too. But Three Dudes and Cold Brews podcast. I'm done with my plugs. JC, go ahead.
So you can find me on Instagram, JCWalsh81. I am also on the slasher app, JCWalsh81, just like different size letters. Twitter, JCW Horror Writer, and JC Walsh on Facebook. Also Amazon, you can find that beautiful book, my first release that Ben is holding. I think Ed's gonna grab something too. Both my releases on there.
I'm gonna grab something.
And I'm also in the anthology called Dark Words, Stories of Urban Legends. That's coming out next Friday with like 12 other awesome authors. So
that's awesome.
Some cool urban legends.
Sucker for a good anthology.
So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Where can we find you this weekend?
I was just going to next. I'll be at Monster Mania working the horror decor table. Horror decor are our buddies in it's husband and wife team.
Shout
business.
out Horror Decor. They're awesome.
Shout out to Horror Decor. They sell horror pillows, candles. I don't think they'll be selling candles this weekend as the heat. But a lot of pillows, all kinds of cool stuff for your horror decorating, and then I'll be selling books with them as well. So, try to think anything else. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else. And I also talk more horror movies on author Amano Rosmilia's YouTube as well. Dude, break down 4 different movies. Do it that type of theme way, a little different than what we do here. So, can never get enough of horror movies.
No, I will say this has gotten me more. I've always been a fan of horror movies, and like I've always said it, it's been a big part of me growing up, honestly, and Ed can definitely attest to that. He can vouch. Like that was it. Like the first movie I visibly remember seeing as a kid, and that's why I think it has to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Nightmare on Elm Street. It terrified me as a kid, obviously, but that is definitely the first. That's the first movie I remember seeing as a kid. Is Nightmare on Elm Street. Changed my life. Freddy Krueger is my homie. He's the two that I have to pick. It has to be Freddy. But no, it really helped me get into horror movie this so much. And I realized, like, dude, besides like video games, I will always say video games is like my true thing. Horror movies, dude, holy shit, man. It's opened my eyes again, like how much I enjoy it. Anyway, if you're watching me live, you know where I am. You know it. I check Twitter just for like game announcements, now horror announcements too, because I started following a bunch of stuff, and Suicide Girls because they're super hot. No, so
Also in the horror metal world, we're all
it's true.
You know?
It's true. Yeah, I stream. I haven't streamed a lot this month because honestly, we talked about it last week, but this month has sucked. So I decided to just kind of check out. Besides doing this, because I love this.
I personal lives.
I decided to just take a fucking mental break. Just be me for a while. I'm gonna go back to full-time streaming again. Well, full-time besides my job, but probably in the next couple weeks. But I just needed to just take a little breather. Anyway, find me on fucking Instagram, ScroogeChamp. Find me on Twitter, ScroogeChamp. Find me on Twitch if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify, ScroogeChamp. Love you guys.
Real quick, there might be. I haven't actually. I keep on forgetting to ask Ben about this, but I have a. We've kind of talked about doing a crossover kind of thing, and on my other show. So there's a chance. I got to talk to Ben about this off camera, but
yeah, if anything, save that.
Crossover.
Yeah, save that for off.
Small chance you might see it. Yeah, you might see a small crossover eventually.
Okay.
Got some stuff in the works, but
I think that is that's all we got. We don't want to fucking waste too much time unless there's
Quick.
last words.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Real quick, you want to talk about the next movie real quick for next week? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, you said you had an idea. Yes.
I have an idea.
Yeah, I like doing that live because obviously we got to wrap this
fun.
up.
Yeah, so we'll make it quick. So on Shudder, they always have movies. They always release older movies that you haven't seen in a long time, or have been like exclusive releases. There's one 1980. I think it's mid 80s. Don't care about the year, but it's called Edge of the Axe. It's a slasher movie. Never seen it. I think we should give it a shot. Let's get to a slasher. Let's have a little fun with something new and get out slasher.
100% down.
Slasher love for slashers. It's on Shudder. Yep.
Just
shout out to fucking Shudder, man.
Yeah, holy shit.
What a
message.
If you're a horror fan and you're not like paying for the $5 a month dude, you're crazy. But yeah, what's that?
Edge of the Axe.
Edge of the Axe.
Yeah, just can you just text it to the group and I will watch it. I'll probably just watch it this weekend.
And I'm definitely down for that. And then off camera, we'll discuss when we want to do the next date. Could be next week, could be the week after. We don't really know. We have a couple things coming up. Lots going to be coming up, and the summer's going to be busy. But I'm 100% going to make time for this, and I think we all are because
that's me.
We'll find the time. Yeah. So whether it's Thursday nights like we're doing currently, which are the best, most optimal time for us to do live streams with you, or it's we might do Saturday morning matinees. We might do Friday night main events. Like we have a couple Friday main event nights that like we have coming up, but those are bigger nights. Those are more when we do like the something versus something. Or
that's like those are going to be the longer ones. That like we just can't avoid it. Those are going to be the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, this is already 2 hours. But
that's when we do the Freddy versus Jason breakdown.
Yeah, or something like a bigger event when we bring in some guests or things. We'll yeah,
like Robert Englund.
So I wish, man.
Or Kane Hodder, one of the two.
We have, I mean,
or Nick Castle.
We'll start local. How about we start local? How about we start with the guy who owns Hard Decor, or like someone along those lines.
No. Shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars, baby.
We'll get your boy Armand on. He's got a what's the new book he just dropped? Cthulhu something. Oh my god.
Keep What Cthulhu 3. Yeah.
Thank you.
Which I did a forward for that one. So.
Hey.
Oh, baller! Holy.
Even if it was a fucking quick interview for him, just to plug his book, and I'd love to do that because I've never.
We definitely get some of the writers on here. They would love to talk to stuff.
So. Oh yeah, and we're gonna do those once we get the YouTube going, which we're gonna get going this
Mhm.
weekend, I think. That you're gonna see a lot more stuff. So
Yeah.
be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for the big announcements. We have a lot of stuff coming up because the YouTube is gonna open up a lot for us. We're gonna do individual movie reviews. We're gonna do some individual interviews. So like if Joe goes down to these conventions or
Hmm.
writer meetups, he can record himself doing a quick interview with some of these guys. Or me on my side, I'm gonna record. I can talk to a couple metal people, some wrestlers and stuff. So what we're gonna Ben's got some gamer people that we all have horror in there's a community, right? So we're gonna do some big stuff. Let's leave it here. Pop the balloon, pop it, and stay bloody, my friends.
Stay bloody.
Peace.